Yeah, that's the old Ghost Rider in behind all the stuff.
Yeah.
I got that at a bike rally years ago. It was like a tapestry, so they're very hard to come by. So I kind of have it up there, and the old Harley flag then has been following me around since I borrowed it from a Harley rally a couple of years ago.
Fantastic. Mate, do you want to have a chat first, or are you happy just for us to crack straight on? And I mean, we'll begin. Folks, if you're listening or watching this, Mark and I don't know each other. We've just corresponded on like socials and stuff, haven't we, really? So it'll be us getting to know each other
That's
whilst
really it,
everybody else. Yeah. Happy days. Lovely job.
Yeah, sure. Crack on, Bruce. Yeah.
Beautiful. There is a slight delay, something I've learnt with doing these Zoom things. There is a little bit of a delay, so sometimes you kind of think the other person's stopped, but well, it is what it is, isn't it? You know, you just need to work with it.
Yeah, look, we'll get through it anyway. But I will say though, where I'm sitting, the window's right there, so I wouldn't say the light is going to change much in the next while, and because it's still 29 degrees outside. So,
yeah.
But if any stage I think it's getting any brighter or darker, I just have to take a second to readjust. That's all.
Okay, mate, no problem at all. Don't worry about that. I've had to leave my window open because it is like a sweatbox in here. It's unbearable. Right, first things first. Do you have a drink of choice for the evening?
Yeah, it's fairly toasty. Oh yeah, what do you want? What are you drinking?
I have Brewdog, a basic shake, a milkshake IPA. I'm trying it.
A milkshake?
Yes. I'll give you the story.
Have you tried that? Have you tried that before?
Never. Now, my wife volunteers in a charity shop, and the charity shop is connected with an alcoholism charity. So when they get deliveries from local supermarkets and stuff, you know, like food that's either just going or it's the cartons and stuff are spoiled. So they give the food to this charity shop, and the charity shop gives it out to the homeless and all this sort of stuff. But obviously they can't give booze. So any booze that gets donated, it comes our way for a little donation to the charity. So yeah, any Brewdog that comes in, that's why I get all the Brewdog stuff at the moment. So, what are you drinking?
Super. Well, look, at least, I'll tell you what now. I have it in an ice box here beside me, just keeping it cool.
Not born yet. This isn't his first rodeo, folks, is it?
Yeah, a bag of ice and the picnic box does the job. So
fantastic.
Drink. So this is tonight, Bruce. I shall be drinking. It's Kinnegar. It's Donegal. It's from Donegal. This is their Scraggy Bay. So it's an India Pale Ale. This is 5.3%. So it's a bit stronger than your average beer. So I'll be taking it a bit slow with this one. But this is myself and Petrina. We really like the Kinnegar. So there's a ton of different flavors that they have. So, but yeah, this is the Scraggy Bay, and it's quite nice. It's one of those cloudy craft beers. So it's
maybe if it's cold and it's wet, it'll do me.
Oh, it's ice cold.
He's using a glass and he's posh, folks. He's proper posh. This is the difference between the Southern Irish, you see, and the Northern Irish, isn't it?
This is only for demonstration purposes, Bruce, just to show you that it's cloudy, that's all. The next beer will be from the can.
Good lad.
So it's not a full pint, but it is the cloudy.
Gotcha. Right, Slange. Here we are.
Yeah, Slange. Cheers.
I don't know why that's called a milkshake IPA. I'm not tasting any milkshake. It just tastes like Brewdog to me. There's a real delay on your audio, Mark. You sort of disappeared there when you said something.
Oh, okay. And my internet might be just it's up by the window, so it should be okay. Hopefully it won't be doing that too much. But as I asked, was is your beer milky? Is it a cloudy beer or anything?
Do you know I can't see? It's in a can. It's cold and it's wet. I'll have another little taste just for the consumers. Let's see. It just tastes like Brewdog to me. That tastes like the normal Brewdog IPA. Oh well, never mind. It's nice. It'll do me.
As long as it's good and it tastes nice and it's cold, that's the main thing.
Exactly. Right then, Mark. Mark Young, Irish.
That's me.
What else can you tell us about yourself? Who are you? What you do? All the rest of it.
Well, on the media side of things, I have I have a kind of an irregular podcast that comes up. It's not. I wouldn't be doing it all the time. You know, it's like what I said to him when your posts that it's just finding the time to do it right, do it correctly. Do you know? Yeah. So that's and having about 10 different other hobbies as well. So it's hard to fit all that in. Plus full-time jobs. You know. So I have the podcast. I just have for the motorbike. I have my own kind of Mark Young media page on Instagram, and then I'd have my S1000 XR page. So I'm kind of updating them very regularly, you know. But I try and keep just the bike stuff to the XR page for now. And I have my YouTube channel as well. I've been YouTube channel a long time, and I just kind of started doing vlogs with my daughters and stuff, and then I kind of went into doing moto vlogs and the likes of that, and of course again that is time, you know yourself, Bruce, it's very time consuming as well. Yes. So all these hobbies do get done, but it's a slow process, you know what I mean? But I do it when I can do it that type of way, you know.
So you've got 3 pages effectively running then. So you've got Mark Young Media, you've got S1000XR, which is your bike one, is that right? And then there's a podcast one as well running, is that right?
Yeah, I have the podcast as well. The podcast is the Tattooed Irishman. So that's another Instagram page. So that's three. That's three that's 3 Instagram pages, and then I have my own personal page on Facebook, and I do have a Mark Young Media page on Facebook as well, which I kind of just, once I do a podcast, I'll drop the link there, or any vlogs or moto vlogs, I'll just drop the link there, you know. So whoever's interested in whoever's interested in podcasts, if they want to have a listen, or if they're interested in the video side of things, they'll have a listen as well. Another hobby would be photography, and I don't get out doing that as much as I'd like to do it, but when I do, the photographs go up there as well, you know. Yeah. So
how do you keep track of all that then? It sounds like you're juggling like 4 different almost personalities there with the 4 different or 3 different, was that 4 different pages, accounts?
It's 1, 2, 3, it's about 4 or 5, 6 including YouTube. Yeah, it's difficult. Like it's a lot, Bruce. I just keep bloody adding to it. So yeah, do you know what? It is a hobby. It's still a hobby, so I take it in my stride. I do it as I see fit to do it, or when I have time to do it. You know, I don't like doing things just for the sake of doing things. I don't like posting stuff just for the sake of posting, because I think it just gets stale then, and it gets a bit uninteresting, and just you can always tell when there's not love gone into something put online. You know, so. Yeah,
but do you not find
that's kind of with that, like,
do you not find with the socials though that, well, I've definitely found this, consistency is key, and you like for growth, depends what you want, obviously, but like for growth, you kind of have to be posting. It's almost like you have to do it once a day at the moment on the likes of Instagram, for sure. You need to be doing at least one, it's reel at the moment. Reels are the things on. I've just started doing reels, and the exposure, the reach, and the engagement you get with a reel compared to, you remember, like traditionally Instagram was pictures, wasn't it? You just post up a picture. The difference between posting up a picture, between posting up like a picture and posting a reel, I mean, it's not even tenfold. It's probably 20, 50 times. It's huge, the difference, massive. So they're obviously promoting reels, which they are, and they're almost throttling the traditional picture content, which I think is such a shame for Instagram, because Instagram was the picture app, wasn't it?
It was. Like I remember joining Instagram years ago. Like it was possibly around 2011. Excuse me, it was possibly around 2011. I set up my first account on it, and if you posted it, like, obviously there wasn't as many people who were on it now back then, like, but you got the likes, you got the views on your photographs. Do you know what I mean? You had a lot of coverage, or you had a lot of people being able to see it. But now I find that, you know, you can put as many hashtags as you like. You can all this. It's just not getting. You're just not getting the views. Like, so obviously, a lot of the paid advertisements and stuff, that's comes in line with that. I feel like, you know, like they've stopped normal people, regular people from getting the exposure that would have been available back in 2011, 2012, maybe 2013. So now they've introduced like, hey, you can pay €10 to boost your picture, and then it'll be shown all over the place, and then that will hopefully generate follows and the likes of that, you know. But like which page was it? I think it was it was my Mark Young Media page. When I first set that up, I was doing lots of photography on it. I was getting a lot of views and a lot of likes on the photographs, and then the page was hacked. And I got it back a couple of days later. And when I got it back, the views and the likes, just the exposure completely stopped. So whatever happened in the process of recovering the account, it just completely stopped the likes and the views and the follows, which was a bit crazy. But I was lucky to get it back, to be quite honest with you. Very lucky to get it back.
Was there any reason they hacked it? You know, were they asking for money or something in order to get it back, or did they just hack into it, take over, and that was that?
No, they just hacked into it, turned it on private, and they just posted a couple of those ridiculous advertisements to buy followers. Do you know what I mean? These, because I was able to go in and look at the stories, and they're just, and it wasn't a constant posting. You know, it wasn't a constant posting of, here, spend €200 and get 1 million followers, and then so on again and again and again. It was just like one or two. So obviously it was done to many accounts, because if it was done to just one account, it would have been the sole focus, I reckon. But it just turned out, and it was just one or two posts. That was it. There was nothing deleted. There was nothing gone off the account. There was no weird DMs sent to anybody. But it was once I got it back, once I got it recovered, that was it. That was the end of the good exposure I was getting. So whatever happened in, you know.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? Like, for me, I noticed it, I would say, about a year or two ago. I noticed on Instagram, it just seemed, the reach just seemed to, like, stop. It's like someone just put the brakes on all of a sudden. It's a fairly recent thing, I found, for me anyway. And now I start doing like reels, and you know, stories have always got a good reach, but reels certainly seem to be helping that. But the static stuff, like pictures, just don't seem to get anywhere near the reach they used to. But anyway, we need to find out more about you then, Mark. So you're in Ireland. Are you in, is it Kerry you are? Are you over near Dublin? Whereabouts are you? Oh, have you frozen? Are you there?
Yeah. Oh, you're back again there. Yeah. No, you were chatting there. What was I saying? The photographs, I think your photographs just have to be serious, very artistic photographs. Like, you see the ones of the motorbikes in the forests, but everything is blacked out, and it's real heavy contrast, but it's done in a way, it's like a scene from Stranger Things. You know, it's really kind of a spooky but really high def picture. Do you know what I mean? And regular people don't take photographs like this, you know, and it's those pictures are getting the likes of those pictures, I think. Yeah. Everything else is just staying in the back of the bus.
Yeah. You can't really just put up a picture of, you know, here's my bike at the chippy anymore, can you? It's not like... is that a good thing or is that a bad thing then? Maybe are they wanting quality content in terms of picture? But then there's some right dross out there getting chucked up as reels, isn't there? It's getting like TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you like TikTok. TikTok is, you know, some of the videos in TikTok, you're looking at someone kind of cleaning their toenails for 10 seconds and they've 250,000 likes and something views on it. And
I know. Why?
It's crazy. It's crazy what goes viral on TikTok. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I think we're too old for it. I don't get it.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe I think it's a case is when you put in when you don't lie about your age, as in how old you are, on these apps, it just kind of pushes you over to the side there, like, creepy old guy section over there. The youthful section over there. Let's keep that division there. You know what I mean?
Here's a load of women in bikinis. We'll keep you happy. There you are. Watch this. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the next account that I'll put up, I'll put myself down as a person in a bikini, and then I might start getting the likes. Do you know what I mean? That might work.
That'd be interesting if you like you said, if you lied about your age and like interests and stuff, would they then classify that account somewhere else, or would the AI look at? I suppose as long as you're not putting up pictures or videos of you, because the AI can look at that picture and it can look at the video, can't it? And it can look and go, okay, well, you're a white male of about this age. That doesn't line up with what you said in your bio. Would it go that deep
Didn't
or
think
not?
of that,
I don't know. Because it's amazing, isn't it? What the AI, like even in YouTube, the AI in YouTube, it watches and listens to your vid when you upload it. It watches and it listens to it to make sure what is in that video correlates to what the title is, what's shown in the thumbnail, and what your description and your tags and everything like that is. And if things don't match up, then it's like you get a lower score. So it almost doesn't. We're not going to push you out that far now because you don't tick all the right boxes. Nothing matches. Whereas if your title's about the Canon blah-de-blah new camera, and you talk about the Canon blah-de-blah camera in the vid, and your title is that, your thumbnail shows that camera, and if you've got text, it mentions it, and your tags and your description, then everything lines up, and it'll go, right, okay, that's what this vid's about. I'm going to chuck this out to everybody or a percentage of people who have previously shown an interest in the Canon blah-de-blah cameras. How many people watch that video? If there's a good uptake from that, then it goes, for the next few hours, it'll go, right, we're going to chuck it out to people who show an interest in Panasonic cameras or just cameras, and it widens the audience. That's my understanding of it. Anyway, I think it's constantly, the YouTube one is constantly weighing it all out, isn't it? And it's trying to figure out, okay, is this vid a good fit for the target audience we've determined it fits? And if it is, will it suit a wider projection of an audience? And it just keeps doing that. And if you get a few videos on the bounce, like 4, 5, 6 videos on the bounce that all get a really good reception from what it thinks the audience thinks your video goes to, that's when you start seeing that massive spike. If you can plod along and then all of a sudden it just goes whoop like that, and sometimes it just drops straight. Well, all mine have gone whoop up, and then it just drops straight away again. Like really? a day or two later. Yeah, and that's where it chucks it out to a much wider audience to test. And if it doesn't get a good feedback from that test, then that's that. You're not put to the back of the queue, but it just goes, okay, well, we'll leave that one for a while and we'll check other stuff, other channels. And then you get a vid that does really well and it comes back and then it tests it again. It's quite interesting when you look at the analytics, but it can drive you crazy.
Yeah. One of the most popular videos I've put on my YouTube was probably the instructional video for the Givey top box. It was the 52 litre. It was the instruction video for installing it on the XR. Yeah, no, that did very well. But it was like the thumbnail had the titles in it and the picture of the top box. Yeah, it was straight into it. It was straight into showing how to throw it onto the XR, and it was that did very well. And also it was a video I did on using the Rodecaster Pro. That's the Rode podcast desk. Yeah, to how to use that desk and send the audio out into a camera without having a whine or a whinge or something like that, and that did very well. Yeah. So, and all of those had like the title or the picture of the thing of the desk or the top box, and they've done well. The ones that don't do well are just the little vlogs, or the video the video vlogs or whatever you want to call them. Maybe doing something with Maya or Tori, my daughters. They don't do very well at all, but I stopped kind of worrying about it because I'm not going to be making a living off it. But I'm just doing it for the enjoyment. It would be nice to get it out to a good crowd, but I'm just happy putting it up and getting positive feedback out of it. I'm happy with that.
I think so many people have been on this podcast and said exactly that. It is so easy to sort of fall into that trap of searching and following the analytics and constantly looking at them and how many numbers am I getting. I've done it, but I think when you actually just turn around and go, do you know what? I'm just going to make the content I want to make, the content that I'm happy to make, and that's sort of where I am now. But I also realize for growth, for channel growth, I still need to sort of, you got to suckle on the YouTube every now and then, and you need to check out a bike review or a kit review or pick something in trend, just a topic that's on trend at that time, then chuck a video out on it as close to that trending time as possible. And you'll see a little bit of growth. But yeah, definitely make the content you want to make. Mate, can we find out a little bit more about you? Like, where do you live? Well, you don't need to tell us an address, but obviously you're from Ireland. Are you near Dublin? Is that right? Or Kerry?
No, well, at the moment I'm in Cork.
Cork.
I am from Cork, but I do spend a lot of time in Kerry. My partner Petrina, she's from Kerry,
gotcha.
So she's down near the Tralee area. But I'm between here and there, basically.
Mm-hmm. Are you open about what you do for a living or not?
Yeah, sure. I'm in the army. I'm in the army 21 years now. 21 years in 5 days time. I'll have hit the 21 years. Yeah.
Wow. What do you do in the army?
I'm in the transport company. So basically we are transport company would be heavy lift. We would be truck driving, driving the coaches, driving troops out to the side of the mountain or whatever, or driving the heavy lift containers, all the likes of that. So we wouldn't have anything armored. Well, we do have, for overseas, we do have armored trucks with the containers. The drops trucks, they're called. They're the trucks that pick up the 20-foot containers, the shipping containers. But am I back?
You're back, mate. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I can hear you. No, mate, don't worry about it. These things happen, don't they? It's part and parcel of doing stuff online. It's just the nature of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so army for 21 years. I take it you joined straight from school then, or did you do something before?
No, I worked in factories.
Right.
I worked in one or two factories starting off, and I had applied for the army pretty soon after I left school. I did a bit of work in the factories. I had a good job in a local pharmaceutical factory. So, but I had got the call anyway to go to the recruit training, and I started that, and I was in it for 8 weeks, and I buggered up my knee during that training. So at that time it was easy enough to get in. It wasn't difficult to get in. So I bought myself out of recruit training, which was something like £25 at the time, Irish pounds. You have to buy yourself out just for the admin fee,
Right.
And I let my knee heal for 6 months, and I came back in then. It was August 16th, 2001, and that was it. I stuck with it then, so I'm here ever since.
Wow. So I take it, have you been all overseas then with the army, or have you been pretty much domestic based?
I've spent a year in total in Africa.
Wow.
I was in West Africa for a year, so I was over for 6 months, came back for a year, and then I went out again for 6 months. So and the possibility to go somewhere again now is coming up soon, so that could be on the cards again.
Okay. Oh, whereabouts in West Africa were you?
Liberia. I went to Liberia 2000. So it was 2004, I think, was my first trip. I went to Liberia. That was an experience.
Yeah.
That was a bit mad, It was if you were lost without your creature comforts, you wouldn't get on well out there at all. It was living in tents. It was living just on camp beds in tents with fly nets around you, and God only knows what's crawling around on the floor.
Yeah. Was that a combat role, or was that like a support role, a logistical role? What sort of what work were you doing over there?
From what I remember, it was a peace enforcing.
Right.
So it's a peace enforcing. So you have your peacekeeping and peace enforcing. The main difference is the rules of engagement, really. Peace enforcing, you are allowed to discharge your weapon. Like you have, like when you discharge your weapon, you have your degrees of force as well. Like you don't go straight to down someone, you know.
Yeah.
But if you think you need to discharge your weapon for maybe dispersing a crowd, round up in the air, something like that, you can do that without being shot at first, and that's peacekeeping.
Right.
So as far as I know, peacekeeping, someone needs to hurl around towards your direction first before you can do the same, you know. But it was we didn't really see much trouble. It was a bit of argy-bargy the odd time, but that was about it. It wasn't anything frontline, you know. But it was my first experience going overseas. It was my first experience being in Africa and being overseas. So
wow.
Basically, I went over in the role of a storeman, because that's what I was detailed to go over and do. And basically, I spent the entire time, the entire 6 months, trying to swap with lads that were going out on the patrols up the country, up into the jungles, up doing the different stuff. Like, I wasn't happy. Like I didn't want to go out. I was detailed to go out, which means you're mandatory selected to go. So good luck, pack your bags, you're going. So when I got off the plane in Africa, my mindset changed completely. It was here we go, Rambo mode, I suppose. It was army movie mode, you know. So it was a case of, I actually, you know, my commanding officer, you get a report at the end of your 6 months off your commanding officer, and he was sitting there for a few minutes reading all the reports from the NCOs and stuff, you know, and he just basically said to me, look, I think you need to reevaluate what you're doing in the army, because you spent most of your time trying to get out of the stores and get on patrols and do the mad stuff instead of kind of being safe, stuck in the store. Like, I just agree with him, you know. But the way I saw it back then, like, you can't go to Africa and sit in a store. You know, you have to get out, you meet the people, kind of, you know, just see the different how different life is there, you know. And that's exactly what I did, you know, and I really enjoyed it.
I was going to say, what sort of effect did that have on you then? Do you think, did that change you as a person, like being over there and experiencing a different culture, different people, different way of life?
Definitely when I came back after the 6 months, I kind of got more annoyed at what people were getting annoyed at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Really common. Yeah.
You know, you kind of went out there and you're driving through the wood, not the woods, the forests or the jungles, and you're coming into the villages, and they're all just mud huts or old, or just kind of maybe newer concrete buildings that maybe UN built or something like that, you know. And like a lot of them, they just have small generators. If you had any money at all in the village, you just had a small generator and that was it. Like, but it was obviously extremely poor. But in the city, like, you still had big corruption. Like, I mean, if you were driving down through the city or whatever, you're going to get supplies somewhere, you could see a small child in a potato sack for clothing, and then right next to him there's an adult wearing a full suit with gold rimmed glasses and gold rings and all this jazz, you know. And a huge divide there, and there was still huge corruption there, you know. So but I think that's after a war and after a civil war, you know, you're going to get people striving to get the most of what they can, like, in whichever means, you know.
I think it's just human nature, mate, to be honest with you. And West Africa really, from Mauritania down, really, really fried me totally, because it's exactly like you said. I remember being in Mauritania. You know, it's desert country. You're literally going through the Sahara, and I remember it's sand everywhere, and people, as you said, living in mud huts, and extreme poverty. Some people don't even live in a mud hut. They, like Morocco, there's people who live at the side of the road in what they're wearing. That's all they own. Like young lads, 14, 15 years of age, they are standing in everything they own. They sleep on the ground and they hustle all day. They hustle. If it's to tell you where to park your bike, and you give them a euro or a quid or a dollar, Awesome.
Yeah.
They're hustling all the time to try and earn some money. But then I remember coming through Mauritania, and you'd be surrounded by stuff like that. And then there'd be a house at the side of the road with like big walled security walls round the house. And inside the house, it's lush green.
Yeah.
You know, and there'd be like a Bentley pulling into it. And you're just like, this is insanity. There's people literally dying out here. And somebody in there has lush green lawn next to the desert. You know, this is crazy. I remember coming into Dakar, which everybody around Senegal and Mauritania, they held Dakar as like this jewel in the Nile. You know, it's still amazed. Oh my God, you're going to Dakar. What a beautiful place. And I got there, and there was literally people lying in the pavement and the gutter, dead and dying, and people just stepping over, going to work. You know,
I've seen things like
crazy.
that as well. Yeah. Just
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's complete. Like what I found is like with us, we're there rolling through town in big armored personnel carriers, armed to the teeth. You know what I mean? But some people seem to treat foreigners better than what they treat their own. You know, I've seen that as well. Just people lying in the street, just withering away, like, and people just stepping over it, like.
Yeah.
But like, and then you have these people who've come through a civil war as well, you know.
Yeah.
And we were like, before we went over, we were showing the videos and the footage of the civil war, like.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely crazy. I think in Liberia and Monrovia, I think it took all the local people stacking the bodies up outside. I think no, don't quote me, outside the American embassy to get I think the Marines were involved for a short while just to restore peace, I think, in the city. I could be wrong now, but from what I remember, that's how it was done. But it took the locals stacking all the bodies up outside the embassy to start getting any help whatsoever, you know.
Yeah.
But when we were there, it was calmed down. But the idea, what we were doing as well was, the UN had set up a program for if you had weapons from the Civil War, you were allowed to come in, hand over your weapons, and get signed up to be educated in a trade. So you came to a camp. If you had AK-47s, if you had anything like that, you weren't going to get
amnesty.
Basically, there was you weren't going to get locked up or anything. So here's your weapons. You'd get your name taken, and then you'd be shipped off to go and train as a carpenter or train as something like that, you know. And it worked as well, because the amount of weapons that came in were crazy, like, and the condition that some of the weapons were in were absolutely, like, you know, the timber parts on the AK-47, like, a lot of it was, and a lot of them were rusted, and there was no timber on it. It was just trees wrapped around it, and it was crazy, like, it was really crazy, like.
And I bet the AKs were still firing though, weren't they?
Oh yeah. yeah, definitely, yeah. But like, it was just, the first time I went, that was a complete eye opener, and I loved it there, you know, and everyone obviously treated you well there, you know. There was a lot of intervention with the way they were treating each other. There was always somebody trying to be the head of the pack. Yeah. You know, and some of those people had to be taken down a notch or two, had to be spoken to, or had to be just kind of moved away to somewhere else, because they were the problem, like, you know, a lot of them were the problem, like.
Time for a quick shout out to this week's sponsors, who are Innov. Now, Innov specialise in motorcycle dashcam systems. You'll probably seen the vids on my channel. They've got the single camera, the C5. They've got dual camera, which are the K series, the K3 and the K5. K3's 1080, K5's 4K front, 1080 rear. Both the K3 and K5 have an external mic, which you can even wire up into your helmet and vlog with if you want. If you look at my California Superbike School Day vids, the onboard audio is all via the Innov K5 system. They've also got GPS tracking. They've got an external remote, so you can lock footage as you go. They'll do that automatically anyway, should they detect any sudden movement. They've got parking modes on them, so when that's activated, even when your bike is left unattended and switched off, say you're a bike calf or park it up in a town or something like that, if the bike moves at all, then it'll automatically kick in and it'll start recording. So hopefully you'll get that car that hits your bike or anyone that does anything to your bike. As long as they're in front of those cameras, you'll capture them. Great system, folks. Invaluable in terms of any accidents for insurance, because the first thing your insurance is going to ask is there CCTV or witnesses? And if you have one of these Innov systems fitted, then you're covered. Providing you're in the right, you're totally covered. Well worth getting, folks. Head to the link down below. I've got the Innov UK website link down below. So if you're listening to the show notes, check that out. If you're watching the vid, have a look in the description. It is a referral link that just lets Innov know you've come from me, which helps me massively in terms of the sponsorship. It shows them they're getting bang for their buck. If you use the code TEAPOT, TEAPOT, then you'll get, I think it's 5% off any of the Innov cameras. And if you use the link to the Techologic website, they're the one that do like the DC1 and XV1 helmet cameras. If you use the code TEAPOT, you'll get 5% off them as well. So a huge thank you to Innov for all their support. We are also sponsored by Ultimate Add-ons. Ultimate Add-ons, they specialize in mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for bikes, for push bikes, that sort of stuff. They provide dust-proof, drop-proof, really rugged cases for your phones, as well as a multitude of different mounting solutions for those phone cases and action cameras. Things like GoPros, DJIs, all that sort of stuff, Insta360s. Great bits of kit, the great bits of kit, folks. Even when your phone is inside one of these cases, you can still use the phone, you can still use the cameras, obviously as long as you keep the lens and everything clean. Great things, folks. I have never had any issues with vibration affecting my phone's camera when I use the Ultimate Add-on systems. I use the Helix strap mount. It's basically like a ratchet strap, really easy to fit. I can fit it to almost any bike I've ever taken out for a review. Great bits of kit. If you head to ultimateaddons.com and if you use the code TeapotOne10, so TeapotOne with the number 10 at the end, then you will get 10% off their range. Massive thanks to Ultimate Add-ons. Yeah, it's true though, but it is human nature though, isn't it? We are a pack animal effectively, and you do need somebody to take charge, don't you? You know, you do need somebody to be pack leader, whether that's like the outsider, such as yourselves, somebody coming in and going, no, we're going to sort this out. But effectively, You're acting as mum there, aren't you? You're the pack leader, trying to moderate that. But I think we do need that as a species. We definitely need direction. We need boundaries, like law and order. You need some idea as to what is acceptable within this community and what's not.
Yeah. Even down to the smallest things, like in the camp, we employed locals in the camp, like employed locals in the kitchens, in the how would you say, cutting the grass, you know, just to give jobs, you know. And even that, like the guys that were cutting the grass, like there was, if you were the oldest guy, you were in charge. Yeah. And there's days that you just see the older guys just whipping the back of the legs off the younger guys because they're not cutting the grass properly. Like that had to be spoken a few times, like, but it just had to be this pack leader attitude, you know. And sure, look, it is what it is. Like we were there, we were basically there to help them, to help themselves, really. And that's how I saw it, you know.
Definitely, it's always amazed me, and more so, I think more so in the positive side of things since I went traveling. It always amazed me previously in my previous line of work, the evil we were capable of against each other. And obviously in a war zone, that's amplified umpteen times. Now, having traveled and seen a different side of life, I'm also humbled. And even now, to this day, with the support I get shown by people through, you know, buying merch, through comments and stuff on channels, through joining Patreon, all stuff like that, just the kindness and generosity that effectively total strangers can show each other. And I'm not just talking on my sense in a financial manner, but you know, when you're away traveling and you need help, people just help. Most people out there will literally drop whatever they're doing and they'll help, and they embrace you and bring you into their lives, and people house you, they'll feed you, they'll look after you. I've had people look after me for like 3 weeks who I've never met before. Yeah, it happened in Japan. It was amazing. I crashed in Japan, and an expat chap and his family brought me in, and I lived with them for like 3.5 weeks.
Super. Brilliant,
crazy. And stuff like that happened everywhere. It's not just an expat community type thing. Anywhere that I went, middle of Russia, I was shown incredible kindness and hospitality by Russians who didn't even speak English, and they welcomed me into their homes and looked after me. And it was like that everywhere. There's just a tiny percentage of people that are dicks, and the rest are just amazing. And it's always struck me how we're capable of those two extremes.
Yeah, like, did you ever find that in certain, like in Russia, obviously now in the press, Russia's the bad guy. Do you know what I mean? And we all know it's not the Russian people. No. Like, we all know what it's like. But do you think, there's people in Russia, Russian people, like, are aware of this image that the rest of the world might have of them, and when they see a foreigner coming in and they're stuck, do you think that they're compelled to help you, to show you that they're not this person that's portrayed in movies? Like, how many American movies has there been where the Russia's the bad guy? It's always the Russia's the bad guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do you think people are compelled just to show, like, we are actually not?
I genuinely don't. Not in Russia. I've had that in other places, like Romania. You go to Romania, and a lot of the Romanian people who are aware of what certain type, you get the Romanian gypsies that will come into the UK, and they're pickpocketing and they're always scamming and blah, 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 blah. So that tends to be the reputation people have of Romanians. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because when you get to Romania, they are hardworking, they're welcoming, lovely people, like most people are everywhere. But I definitely noticed in Romania, people would be like, please take a seat, have some food, and they'd be like, we are not like the ones you get back in the UK and in London, and that is not Romania. Please don't think that's Romania. But that's one of the few places where I've had that reaction. Russia in particular, I never felt like that in Russia. I just felt like that's what the people were like. They're just Russians are. A Moldovan guy explained this to me about Russians. He said, with Russians, he said, you mean nothing to us. Absolutely nothing to us. Nobody means anything to us unless you're blood. But if we like you, if we don't like you, we'll just ignore you. Pure and simple. But he says, but if we do like you, then you are blood. You are family. So, we will open the door, and what is ours is yours. They literally will take the shirt off the back. They'll rip a loaf of bread in two. It's like that. If they don't like you, they won't engage. But if they do, they are. This is it. Go for it.
Fair. Yeah.
And I found that with Russian people.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've been to Romania, all right, but I've never been to Russia. But I wouldn't have any issues. I've traveling to Russia whatsoever. Like in my own head, like I think a lot of countries are portrayed wrong. Yeah. I think if a lot of countries are portrayed wrong just for the benefit of other institutions or other kind of countries. I think it doesn't matter where you are. Like, you're going to have a negative element, but in most countries you're going to have just the normal, hard-working, decent person, like who will just go out of their way to help you out. Do you know what I mean?
People are people. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's fast forward then. Coming out of Africa, outside of the army, where did this love of? We'll move to motorbikes soon, but where did your love of like photography come from? Because you can tell you're a very creative person. You can tell that in your photography and the pictures that you take, and even what you've just said initially when you were talking about pictures and content, you take a lot of pride, and you can see that you take time and a lot of thought into the pictures that you're making. Where did that all come from then?
Okay, I'll rewind a bit. My dad is an absolute tech guy completely.
Right.
When I was my dad has always been into technical stuff, right? Gear, cameras, you know, video cameras, all the likes of this. Like when I was a baby, like he was, like, remember when tellies were unreliable? They had the tube in the back and all this. Like that's what my dad did. So he was out putting up aerials, and he was working fixing tellies. So obviously,
a cathode ray, was that what it was called?
What's that?
What it was? The cathode ray. That was the tube at the back that fired whatever it was onto the screen. I think that's what it was called.
It's a glass tube about that long.
And, mate, we're old. We are so old.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did that during the day, and then he had a place set up out the back of his mum's place, my grand's place. So just in the back kitchen, he had and he always had like 4 or 5 tellies stacked in there. So he was taking the backs off it and take the back off and put in a tube here, put in a tube here. It got to the stage where tellies were so unreliable that he actually trained my gran how to change the tubes, and he'd be out on a roof somewhere putting up an aerial. So my gran would be in there peeling the spuds and have a fag hanging over her mouth, and she'd be there changing the tubes as well. So so it was that. But he worked in an electronics shop, and any new electronics came in, it was like he was getting it. You know what I mean? Like he had the first type. Well, not the first type, but he had, like, when video cameras came out, remember? They held it like a gun, but you had to carry the VHS on your shoulder. Yes, it was like a big So there was like the VHS was there. You had to put in your tape, and the camera was like a big battery pack about that big. Yeah. He had that. Like I have home movies there of us, like when we were really small. Like, so it all kind of comes from that. Like, and as far as back as I remember, like I was trying to rip open toys and trying to put the wires together from the batteries and see how the lights work and all this, you know. So it was mainly video that I kind of liked doing, and then eventually I kind of moved over. It actually was through the army, because I spent maybe 6 years in a training unit. You know, when recruits come in, or promotional courses. So my company sergeant found out that I had a bit of a hobby of doing videos and vlogs, you know. So he was like, "Oh, that's grand. We'll get you to do this," you know. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry.
So he got me kind of going out recording bits of the training and the likes of that, you know. And I started out just doing small videos, but then he started asking me to do photographs, you know. And I'd done a bit of photography up until that, but I never had a really good camera, you know. It was all video, so I was always trying to get a good microphone and get the better kind of video camera. But through that, I started getting into photography. So I went and I got a loan, and I got a decent camera. And I found, like, when I was trying to get the shot of the guys out training, like, they'd be crawling through the river, or they'd be face down in the muck. Like I was getting down into the water in the muck as well, just to get the shot, like, just to get in and to do it as well. So I found, like, I had a real big interest in that. So it was true. It was because of that company sergeant kind of got me doing that. And then, of course, I was doing it all the time. So the work I was supposed to be doing in the training unit was kind of suffering. So he kind of reeled it back in a small bit. So that kind of pushed me further to do it on my own thing as well, you know. But like I've even back when was it, like I used to do videos, just do silly stuff like police videos, mock police videos with my sister when I was a teenager, you know. We'd have her upstairs. I have one video. She was upstairs in a room with talc on a plate, and just doing these police videos. And I was just kind of always trying to get the titles on the screen and just doing mad stuff, you know. Just fucking having a bit of crack with it, you know. And then it kind of died down after that. But through being in the training unit, it's just started again. Like it just completely, like, and it completely got my head around it. And then I was trying to get like the good microphones. The Rode microphones. I got a good Canon camera. I was buying the new GoPro every time it came out, which was irritating because they're coming out every bloody year. Yeah. And then and
none of them blooming worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the last one that didn't have an issue I had was the tree.
The 3.
And the GoPro 3 that disappeared. The tree that disappeared on me. That's gone. And I actually had the Karma. I actually had the drone, the Karma drone. And there's the tree.
The 3 plus.
Yeah. That's the 3 Plus. That's a great little camera. Great. The only thing, it doesn't have like the stabilization on like the 8 and the 9, the 10 is outstanding. I love it. Like especially out running and stuff like that. I'll have the GoPro with me all the time, and just the stabilization on that, you know. But I went from the 3 to the 5 because I got the 5 with the Karma drone, and I still have the Karma drone. And 90% of the cameras are concrete blocks now around the world. They don't work because the last update that GoPro did, whatever it did, it stopped the controller connecting with the drone.
Really?
Something happened. It just, when people updated, that was the end of it. They couldn't connect for some strange reason, and then GoPro then just shut down the whole Karma project, and then there was no more updates. But I was lucky that I had I was using a different drone at the time, so the Karma was just in the box, nice and tidy away on the shelf, and I never updated. But I was watching all the forums and stuff, so it hasn't been updated in a long time, and it's still working perfectly. Like, so touch wood.
Yeah. Don't update that then.
Yeah, no. So I have the 5, I have the 8 and the 9. The 9 for the first couple of months was terrible. It was shutting down. It was it just didn't do what it was supposed to do, and then they got it right then with an update or something. So I haven't gone near the 10. I'm not going to go near the 10. I'm going to wait and see what comes out this year. But like the 9 and the 10, there's not a whole lot of difference for me.
No, there's not. Yeah, there's not.
So I'll hold tough on that, you know. But but getting back to what you originally asked me, that's kind of where it came from. And then obviously as like I'm into motorbikes, I'm into playing music the odd time. So it all kind of, I'm trying to tie it all in together, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep my creative brain going as well. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to as well as working full time and the girls and all that, you know.
I mean, that must be, it just sounds like, I mean, that is so much work to try and grow effectively 3 or 4 different brands. You know, the photography side, the bike side, and then the vlogging, the vlogging family type stuff that you do, and you're running. And then obviously you've got your podcast as well. You're trying to grow all of them. Gee whiz, man, that is some graft, as well as like normal life and a job.
Yeah, it's a bit mind bending, a small bit, because like I need to get the next podcast episode out, you know. And I've updated the desk. I have the Rodecaster Pro 2 now, which I got that because you can plug your guitar into it and use it as a recording desk as well. Right. So I want to start putting some tunes into the podcast as well. Do you know what I mean? So
your own stuff.
Eventually, do a few covers first, you know. So I want to do that, but it's just try and find the time to write the podcast, to get it right and not have it sounding like, you know, boring and crap.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually, do you know. But I've taken on too much, I think. But I like doing all those different elements as well. I like my photography. I like my vlogging. I love doing the podcasting. Like I do. I just love hitting record, chatting away, and you know I love doing that. All those elements I love, and the biking as well. Like obviously the biking has been around. The interest in motorbikes have been around a lot longer than any of it. But I get around to them eventually, bit by bit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love doing the podcast. I really enjoy the podcast. Almost to the extent where I'd forgo everything else for it. No, I don't think so, because I still love the edit of the vids. I love getting out and about on the bikes, but I do that anyway. But I really enjoy the editing side of it. You know, it really fucks me off sometimes. But at the same extent, I enjoy taking all those ingredients and then somehow, I don't know, but somehow you end up with a final little result, don't you? You end up with a nice little cake that you present out to the world. And do you like it? What do you think of that? And if they don't, okay, well, let's alter the ingredients a little bit. So I'm enjoying it at the moment. For me personally, with the videos, I'm enjoying sort of just tweaking the content just slightly every video, and just see how tiny little subtle changes, you know, in length, the pacing, the content, everything. I just tweak it slightly with every video just to see, does this have any impact? What's having an impact there? I don't know.
But it's constantly evolving though, isn't it? Because
it is.
Going back to when I got into the vlogging, you had like the Peter McKinnons, you had Casey Neistat, all those guys. Has that type of vlogging disappeared a bit? Because
seems to have.
Yeah, that's kind of gone, you know. And it's constantly evolving. It's a platform that's constantly evolving, and what people want to watch.
Yeah.
So like getting back to TikTok, you could sit down and watch TikTok for 4 hours, and 4 hours are gone like that. It's just short videos. It's
insane, isn't it? It's a
wormhole. People belching gets 500,000 likes. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that was great. Do you know? But like I have tried to keep videos. Now I know I have put up long videos on my TikTok, but I do try and keep short videos, like under 7 seconds. Apparently it's a thing. Under 7 seconds will get you more views. Like I have a video there where I'm just revving the bike going through a tunnel, and it got a lot of views. I got a couple of thousand views on it, and all I did was went through a stone tunnel, went like that, give a rev like that, and it was less than 7 seconds. I've one video there. I was stuck in traffic. It was absolutely pelting out of it. It was like torrential downpour, and there was a guy coming up a hill on an electric scooter, and I was just sitting in traffic. Traffic was at a jam. Like, I mean, I just got my camera and went like that, and that has something like 69,000 views on it. And it was just a guy with no jacket on, coming up a hill on his electric scooter. A poor bugger, like, he was absolutely bucketing down. Like,
mate, what state are we at with humanity when shit like that, no disrespect, but that is what's getting traction? I don't understand it. I don't get it.
That wasn't shit. That was a highly precision timed video, Bruce.
But you know what I mean? Where you can go like
the guy
that
coming up the hill in the pissing rain.
You can just do that with something so innocuous as that, and it gets the traction that it gets. And yet you can sit and spend 8 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours editing something and putting out like 5 minute, 10-minute bit of content, a short film, and sometimes like I've got 60, what have I got? 65, 67,000 subscribers at the moment, but I could chuck out a vid and like I should be able to get 5,000 views comfortably with 60 odd thousand subs. I should be able to get 5 to 10,000 views just chucking out a vid. You put them out. Sometimes you're struggling to hit over 1,000 views. Sometimes with some vids, and you're just like, I don't get it. And yet, as you said, somebody belches, you chuck it up, 70,000 views, 100,000 views.
It's what I think is whatever the time of day it is. It's.
Oh, he froze.
Who videos at that point in time is being chucked at? I'll be frozen again.
No, you're back. You're back. YouTube now does shorts, doesn't it? Which are that's the YouTube reel. Reels is on Instagram, short videos, and you can have them up to 3 minutes. But I found 3 minutes not a hope. You got to keep it a minute or less. And then on, YouTube Shorts, you can have them between 7 seconds and 60 seconds. And exactly like you just said, the shorter the better for the YouTube Reels. It's crazy. YouTube Shorts, sorry.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I haven't put anything on the YouTube Shorts. I've never used it. I've never put anything up.
Do it. Honestly,
really?
I've just started to do the last couple of weeks. I've started to do 1 or 2 a week, and that has had a significant impact on my reach. I'm watching it now. It's taken a couple of weeks, but I'm now watching everything start to go up. And the only difference is putting in shorts. Yeah, doing a couple of shorts because your views go up. It's a really short bit of content, but your views are going up, and because your views are going up, you're stepping up in the algorithms, sort of estimations. Then okay, you've gone from this level, now you're up at that level. Okay, we'll chuck it out, and that's plainly what's happening. Is it's getting chucked out to a bigger audience. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll throw one up there and see what happens. I haven't used them yet because I just thought it was like, oh, here we go. Here's another platform using the reels or using the same idea, like, but maybe because it's new enough compared to the others, it might be worth just throwing up. a vid or something. Maybe
you got to stick with it, because I found the first one or two shorts I put out, I actually lost subs. I lost like 20 odd subscribers with the first.
Really?
Yeah. Just because I think with, and I'll put you in this as well, in our sort of community, and I imagine we're going to appeal to the same sort of demographic. They're sort of 30, 35 plus, tend to be male, tend to be British. That's my sort of target audience. I think I'm like 94% male, 35 plus, UK based, that sort of stuff. Well, that sort of age group, I don't think they really, especially in the biking world, they didn't get shorts. So for them, it was just like, I don't like this, and they just leave. They just unsubscribe.
Basically what I just said now. Basically what I just said a few minutes ago. Shorts. Fuck, I'm not watching that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But now I'm seeing a growth. But it did drop initially, and now, then I got back to a level playing field, and now I'm seeing a growth, definitely. Maybe it's because the content is more engaging now. The Romania series I'm doing, maybe that's having an impact. I don't know. Yeah. But there's definitely a growth at the moment.
But I think when you have all the platforms doing something similar, you're kind of funneled into watching the reels or watching the short stories.
Yeah.
So basically, it'll probably get to the stage where you'll go on to whatever platform you're going on to, and you'll end up looking for like the 3-second videos, the TikTok style videos, like the 10-second or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be funneled into that. I think they're very clever in, like on Facebook, I think it's Facebook or whichever the platforms, they are kind of, as soon as you open it, you're hit with, here's a person you're not following, but I'm suggesting this person's reel to you. So here's a person jumping off a horse.
Right.
Have a watch this, see what you think of it. So you'll watch it, and then eventually it'll become the norm going into the platform and looking at these short videos, and that'll be until the next thing comes along. So who knows what the next thing will come along, but they're very good at kind of getting you to watch things. Like they'll just keep throwing it at you until you do watch it, I'd say.
Yes. Yeah. I noticed that last night. There was a reel showed up of a father and son training in a gym, and the first vid I saw was, I think it was titled something like, "The son, I'll deadlift whatever my dad can bench press." And they're both units. They're both 6'3". The dad is something like 400 pounds. He's huge, like 30 odd stone. He's massive, brute of a man. And the dad basically beat the son at deadlifting. I think the son got to something like 250 or 300 kilograms, and the dad was benching it, and kept going up. So I watched the whole vid, and then I noticed in my feed, like every second or third vid was this father and son. Okay. You're right. It almost like, not bullies you, but it almost makes you just go, I'll just follow them then, because that's all the content I'm getting shown is them, so I'll follow that. And then you get something new then, don't you? Someone else kicks in. Yeah.
I think the algorithm for the likes of that is more apparent in TikTok.
Yeah.
If you went onto TikTok and you typed in, we'll just say infantry. If you just typed in infantry and you watched like 10 videos of infantry guys training or doing whatever the heck they're doing, I think next time you come onto TikTok, then you're going to have more army vids. I think it's more apparent and obvious on TikTok, whatever way to do it. Yeah. It's more subtle on the other platforms, I think. I've found, but like I said, you are being funneled into it. It's like the case of the tin of roses at Christmas time. The crappy chocolates are, you're eventually going to make your way down to the ones you don't want to eat, but you're still going to, because you're going to be sitting there some night watching a movie, and you're kind of going, is there any roses left? No, there's only these crappy ones. Shall we leave them? You know what I mean? So it's that kind of idea, where you'll eventually just be funneled down to it, where you have no choice, where you will end up watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Look, there's no harm in it either, I suppose.
Do you not think like all the platforms are becoming the same now? They're all like losing their, like, for example, Instagram used to be picture based, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. It was a picture based app.
Yeah, it was.
And what else was it? Facebook.
There was a time where you couldn't even
type thing.
There was a time you couldn't even message on Instagram.
Right.
there was nothing. If you wanted to talk to someone on Instagram, they would say you'd say it under a photograph. Download this messaging app.
Yes, that's right.
I can't remember what it's called. It was a weird name.
What? I remember that. I
remember
the messenger
and you had to download it. But yeah, and then they eventually just gave the short messages on Instagram. You could DM and all that jazz.
Yeah. Who knows?
Right,
mate, we better get through some questions here because we've got a few questions to work our way through. And,
sure.
I think we'll still be here tomorrow morning at this rate, setting the world to rights.
We still haven't spoken about bikes really yet, have we?
I know we haven't. I know. Well, we'll come on to that. We'll make sure that however we answer some of these questions, we'll angle it. We'll angle it back to bikes, don't we?
Yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah.
Right. So first of all, folks, as usual, we'll head across to the clan over on Patreon. And I just came up with this brainwave today. Only clans. That's what I'm going to start calling it. Only clans over on Patreon.
Only clans.
So first one, Charlie Callard. How you doing, Charlie? Morning, gents.
How are you, Charlie?
Afternoon, gents. Hope you're both fitting well. So my question, if you're out for an afternoon tea having the good old British scones with cream and jam, which is first? Cream or jam? Gee, this is never something that has impacted on my life personally.
It's down to your palate, what your palate wants to hit first. I think I would put jam first. Definitely, because the jam would stick to the scone. Definitely, the jam has, like, if you put the cream on, you've more of a chance of it all falling off because the jam is heavier. So the jam will go on the scone, and then scone, whatever you want to call it, and then you put the big blob. You get a big teaspoon of cream and just jazz that on top. Put it on top.
Is it on top?
Jazz the cream on top. So I would go with the jam first.
Do you know, it's just not something I'm going to worry myself about, to be honest, Charlie, because it'll go in one, so it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me. There's far more things that I'll get het up about.
I'm with Charlie on that one. I would like, if someone put the cream on first and then the jam, I'd be sitting there going, Charlie,
would you?
Yeah, I'd be kind of going, why? Why are you doing that? Like, this is, anyway, that's whatever. That was a good one, Charlie. Fair play.
Oh my God, there's some people out there. Next one. Also, Bruce, thank you for the feedback on the Hero 7, mate. I ended up getting a 9 black before the podcast airs as it was the right price at the right time. Would you say the Enduro batteries are the way forward for the 9 or just stick to the blue standard batteries? Get the white ones. For me, I had nothing but problems with the Hero 9, the Hero 10, loads of issues with them. The second I moved to these white Enduro batteries, it's not been 100%, but I would say it's as near as damn it. You probably out of 10 times I use the cameras, maybe I'll get one where it might freeze, maybe.
Yeah,
but, these new white Enduros, fantastic.
I think they're releasing them too quick, if you ask me. And I think a lot of people would be of that opinion. Like they're trying to stick to this kind of tradition where they release a new GoPro something every September, October.
Yeah.
I don't think that, you need time to see how they work, but I think they're very clever as well. They're using people as the quality check. Do you know what I mean? Totally. Completely. So it'll go out for a month, the next thing people on the forums, and of course, they are watching the forums, like whether they answer or not or is another thing. But they'll see people like, oh, this is freezing and this clip is splitting in two. This is, and they're kind of sitting there and they're writing it down and going, okay, we'll work on that. Instead of paying a complete factory full of people on just going around making GoPro videos all day long and seeing what goes wrong, So
R&D it, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of clever in an annoying way.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why you get all these, there's so many firmware updates constantly, isn't there? There's firmware updates coming out all the time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, definitely, Charlie, I would definitely invest. Well, I'm saying invest. They cost exactly the same as the blue ones. So get the white Enduro ones. Been brilliant for me. And what I like about whatever they've done recently, it used to be that when your camera froze, you had to take the battery out, whack it back in. Now what I'm finding, I use the 10 as my helmet camera, but if it does freeze, I can just push and hold on the power button you've got to hold it for about 10 seconds, let go, and the camera restarts. Which is brilliant.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't need to stop and I don't need to take my gloves off and, take the camera out and take the battery out. I don't need to faff about with that. I can do it. I probably shouldn't say this, but I can do it when I'm riding. I can just push and hold the power button.
Yeah, that's true.
The camera.
That's true. But like it's and especially when you have the media mod on, you have to unscrew the thing and then just take it out of the media mod and take the battery out. It's
such a bad design, isn't it? This here with the media mod, you have to flip that up. But because these new 9 and 10s, the actual, if you look there, that's your stand, that bit there. Like flip that down. That's your little legs. They're part of the camera, and they're the bits that clip into there. Yeah. So when that's in your media mod, like this, you can't pull the camera out. So you literally have to disconnect the camera, take it all out, flip them up, pull it out. It's a right pain in the bum. DJIs, you don't need to do that, and Insta360, you don't need to do that with their One RS. But so I reckon when the new one comes out, this new GoPro that comes out, there'll be a workaround on that. There has to be, because that's like a selling point for Insta and DJI, isn't it?
Yeah. They might do something or they might not, really, because they are kind of
the GoPro.
Yeah. No matter what they do, they'll sell their cameras.
Yeah. I fall for it almost every year. Yeah. Ooh, shiny! I love that.
But I am looking forward to see what they bring out though. So this year, so see how it goes.
Where's it going to go? Where's it go with action cameras now?
Who knows? Like GoPro really need to improve their nighttime lens. They need to put a bigger lens in, a bigger sensor in there maybe. Like there's the stability. I love the stability on it because if I'm going for a run, I have my vest with me. Like I'll just have the camera there, and you're running and you're bouncing all over the place, but just hold it out and it's steady.
Yeah,
because I used to do the running vlogs with the tree and stuff, and you'd be like this. It was like an action movie, but now it's just dead steady. Like I was when I got the Karma set, I was out running with the Karma gimbal.
Yeah.
So I was trying to stick that Karma gimbal inside my vest, and that was going all over the place. But it was work. If I could run and hold it and just not have to put it down somewhere, it worked for me, But when they brought the onboard stabilization then with the 8 and stuff, that was brilliant. I love it. Like it's really good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you follow Stephen Reed on YouTube?
He's the guy from the north, is he?
No? Oh, is he from the north? Yes, he is north. Sorry, apologies. He is from the north.
He's got the glasses, and he's always running up in the Moor Mountains and stuff, isn't
he? That's him.
Yeah, I follow him. Yeah, he's very good. His videos are awesome. Very good. Yeah,
really good. I saw some of your posts when you were out running, and I was like, oh, I wonder if you've met Stephen or not.
No, I've never met him, but I have kind of corresponded with him on his posts a while back. Like I go through phases of watching running videos and not watching running videos, But I have kind of spoken to him like just one sentence conversations, you know what I mean, on his videos and stuff. But he's a cool guy. His videos are awesome as well.
Yeah, I like them.
His energy is like he's so positive. Do you know what I mean? Even when he's out covered in mosquitoes and his lungs are bursting, like he's still in great form, and he's still being funny. Like so, it's great watching videos like that. It really motivates you to get out. If you're meant to get out and you don't want to get out, next thing you see this guy and he's breathing out his ass and covered in mosquitoes, but he's still out doing it, and having a laugh. Well then, come on, you got to get out,
And he's still having the foresight to be, with his creativity, to think about like his shots, how he does a shot, and that's what I love about it. He's not just out running up a mountain, is he, holding a camera? He does lots of different styles of shots whilst he's doing it, and then edits it all together so it flows beautifully. It's really good work.
Doing that will take your mind off your lungs bursting. Do you know what I mean? I remember in recruit training, like when we were out doing the route marches, full gear, full kit, and your lungs are just trying to burst out of your chest, and you just wanted to drop. I found distracting yourself by going back and dragging someone else along, or having a bit of crack, or just kind of having a bit of a slagging or something. That always took your mind off it. So it's very good, as in like that's what a lot of time that's why I'll bring my camera with me. So if I find I'm kind of getting down the dumps and I'm feeling like shite, I'll just get the camera out and I'll just do kind of have a chat, and then I'll just kind of forget about it for a small while, how shit I'm feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like the other day it was like 27 degrees and there was no wind, and I went out to the woods and it was parts of it was tough, like, because like in the video I said, like, there's parts of it there where the trees come up and there's no wind, and it's just the heat just holds inside the trees. But I just took out the camera and just chat to the camera. It takes your mind off your lungs wanting to come out of your chest, you know. So it's a good distraction as well, you know, keeping your creative mind going as well.
I've said this loads on the podcast. I don't consider myself a creative person. I feel like I have to do a lot of work to create anything. And I know it's not easy for a lot of people, but I look at other people's stuff and I'm just like, I'd never have thought of using that camera angle or the transition, you know, how they've styled the shot to transition into the next sequence. Oh man, I don't feel like I'm capable of that thought that they're putting into it. Maybe I don't know. You know, I just look at the stuff and just think, I'd love to be like that. I'd love to do that.
But if you think about it, you're like, everyone has a style, whether it's a real glitzy style or a normal style, style. Like what's your follower count on YouTube? Was about 60 something thousand now, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
you've 60 something thousand people there who are used to your style and like your style, obviously, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be following. I wouldn't think anyway. Right. So, but then you have these people like, say, McKinnon, right? Peter McKinnon, who has an unbelievable creative side. I mean, the stuff he does, it's like the videos he does himself. If he was paid to do something like that for another company, he'd be rich off one video. He's that stylish and he's that creative. But people will come to know his videos being that creative. So can you imagine getting up in the morning and like you feel like dirt and
you're not in the mood for it.
Not in the mood, but you have to go out and you have to be this creative. Now, when you're that creative, it's not a job. Do you know what I mean? But it takes time to be that creative as well, to do the editing and stuff. You know. So if you like your vids, you have your camera in your front, you have your camera on your helmet, you're chatting away, and like I'd say. You have your angles, and there's people out there who don't want the crazy creativeness. I don't think they don't want the fanciness. They want to see the bike, they want to see the road, they want to listen to you, obviously, they want to listen to your banter, and they just want to listen to what the bike is about. Do you know what I mean? If some people, if they do a review on a certain bike and it's too fancy, you're going to be sitting there kind of going, just, can you get to the point? Like, can you just get to the fucking point where you tell me how many horses are in the damn thing? Do you know what I mean? How fast does it go? Can I get my knee down? Do you know what I mean? Instead of kind of whooshing in and having your scarf flapping and, you know, smooth transitions and stuff. I mean, just get to the point. Just, I'm here to watch the review, not to fucking give you an Oscar. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's true. I think yes, you can be creative, but I think, especially with your followings, like people obviously like what you're putting out because they enjoy the banter. I'm assuming they enjoy the banter, they enjoy the chats, and they like seeing the bike. They want to see the bike as it is. They want to see things as they are, not in a kind of Michael Bay film type of way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotcha.
So you know, so I think there's a lot of people. Like I said, there's a lot of people there who just want you to get to the point, and you get to the point in a lot of your videos. Like, so you know, that's really
that's a learning process though, because like anyone that listens to the process will know I waffle. I've got real bad verbal diarrhea at times. Why use one word when you can use 18 sentences? But I found that in the edit, I'll cut. I started to cut a lot more out now, whereas my videos used to be 40 minutes or 30 minutes long. Now, ideally, I'm trying to get them 10 minutes, so they're generally anywhere between 10 and 15 at the moment, most of them. Occasionally, I'll hit 20 minutes. But I'm really trying to cut things down and make it much more punchy and concise. But then you get people going, it's too short. Because they're used to me putting out longer vids and they're like, that's too short. But I also see that attracts a lot of new people as well.
Yeah. Like, you will have the people who want to come in from work on a Friday and they'll be like, okay, Teapot's got an hour and a half video of give me my beers there, or just close the door, leave me alone. I'm watching Teapot for the next hour and a half. You have people there, but then you have people, and I'm guilty of this. I've kind of gone on and say, I'll see what Teapot's doing. And okay, an hour and a half video. I don't have an hour and a half to watch this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or here's a video of Bruce doing something with a GS for 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I have 15 minutes. I'll sit down and watch this. Do you know? So
I'm like that myself. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the first things I'll look at is the length of a video, and I'll be like, I haven't got that time. I just haven't got the time. You know,
yeah, it's like sometimes when I see a long video like that, and I'm not, I I'll watch a couple of videos, a couple of 15, 20-minute videos. I want to watch a couple of those. But if you see an hour and a half video, you're kind of thinking, how long is it going to take this person to get to the point of just tell me, like a lot of time I'll go on YouTube, for instance, one of the bikes I'm looking at now is the V85 TT, the Moto Guzzi.
You were taking that today, didn't you?
Yeah, I took for a spin up in Dublin today. So I'm looking at that at the moment, and it's slowly but surely all the questions are coming into my head. How easy is it to take the panels off the side? Or what's it like coming from a fast bike onto the V85 TT? Like say, like my one, an XR onto the V85 TT. Will you miss the power? And I'm starting to get in, like when I was first researching the V85, I was looking at everything and anything. Excuse me.
All right.
And then I was kind of going, okay, now I want specifics. I'm putting into the search engine life with the V85 after like a year or something. I want to see, and then I'm putting in coming off a GS 1200 onto a V85 TT. How about it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm starting to look for specifics, and if you see a video is like an hour and a half, you're kind of going, oh man, at what stage is he going to tell me what I need to know? Like, do you know what I mean? But I think the long videos, there is still a place for the long videos, because, like I said, I've done it. Like when I was buying the XR, I was watching Sean's videos all the time. Like
Sean Marshall, like a
yeah. And it was actually a conversation I had, private messaging Sean, that convinced me to get the XR 5 years ago. So, but I was watching all these videos, and when I saw, like, I was coming in from work and just getting a beer, and I was like, oh, he's got an hour and a half video there between two videos of his tour in, I don't know, Uberland or wherever it is, whatever German spot it is, like, and I was like, I just sit there and here we go now, an hour and a half of the XR. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a place for the long videos, but there's definitely more of a place now for the shorter videos, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, go on. Apologies, go on.
Sometimes I just want the video to get to the point. Do you know what I mean? Just get to the point. This video is about taking off the back wheel of an XR. So just get to it, because obviously I have to take the back wheel off the XR for something, do you know? Do you know what I mean? So that type of thing, and that's not being rude or anything, but you do go onto YouTube for videos like that, just instructional videos, do you know? But like I do like the short videos, I do like the long videos, but I think more so I'm looking for shorter videos, just so the point is straight in there, you know?
I think that's only emphasised by the growing presence of Reels, TikTok, Shorts. People are just being conditioned to that really short content now, aren't they? Not that YouTube itself is just going to be full of 15-second vids, but I think, as you said, they want you to get to the point, for sure.
Yeah,
I think that. Yeah. Speaking of which, next question.
Yeah, are we still on the questions?
That's number one we've just got through.
Okay, we go on with it, so there.
So cheers, Charlie, thanks for that, pal. Next one, the Mad Leprechaun, Mart. Hello, is the Wild Atlantic Way worth doing, or would you suggest the Ring of Kerry? Or if not, what would you suggest for a week's holiday in Ireland?
Okay. Someone will definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Ring of Kerry is probably part of the Wild Atlantic Way. Probably starts down there somewhere. So definitely Ring of Kerry is stunning. It's beautiful. But it is stunning, it's beautiful, and it's probably one of the most popular rings to do in Ireland. But then the next one, then you have the Beara Peninsula. I think that's below it. That's Cork. So the Ring of Kerry is obviously Kerry. Starts in Clarny, goes around to Kenmare. But the Beara Peninsula, I'll always tell people, go do the Beara Peninsula as well. Look for a town on the Beara Peninsula called Castletownbere. So I don't know where the starting point is. The starting point possibly Kenmare, maybe. I think it's Kenmare as a starting point for the Beara Peninsula. So if you start there and go across the top, so you have Ireland, you have all the peninsulas jutting out at the end of it.
Yeah.
So the Beara Peninsula, go do the top first and make your way around to Castletownbere. Because after Castletownbere, it's pretty when you're coming back into the mainland, but it's pretty, but it's just kind of normal national road. But the top part of the Beara Peninsula, get your map, your Google Maps or whatever it is, and just get into all the nooks and crannies of all the roads around it, because you're going down roads that has the grass down the middle and all this. But the Beara Peninsula, we'll just say the north side of the Beara Peninsula, that all along the top, if you get into all the nooks and crannies, it's absolutely stunning, especially if the sun is shining. Okay. It's stunning, it's gorgeous, and it's a less traveled peninsula. It's something you really got to do. It's like, do the Ring of Kerry, fine, perfect. You're going to have lots of traffic on it, especially this time of year, especially when the sun's out, and it is gorgeous as well. But the Beara Peninsula is stunning. It's stunning. And you come around to Castletownbere, then it kind of comes just normal national road, like, you know. Just getting into it there. What was the other part of the question?
He basically said, is the Wild Atlantic Way worth doing? If not, Ring of Kerry, or what would you suggest for a week's holiday?
Okay, yeah, definitely Beara. And you'd do Beara in a day, but if you wanted to take maybe 2 days, stay in a B&B somewhere and just explore it a bit more. Explore the little nooks and crannies in the Beara Peninsula. The Ring of Kerry, don't rush it. Same again. If you want to spend 2 days doing it, definitely do spend the 2 days. If you have 2 days, spend the 2 days and just explore the different areas. If you want to kind of go for an hour and stop and then stay in a B&B and then go sample the local beer or whatever it is, then take 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely if you have the time, take the time. Don't rush it and stop in the different areas and explore all the small back roads, because it's that's where the magic is. Do you know what I mean? That's where all these postcard images of Ireland on the coast, that's where you'll find all these little spots, like all those, you know, these are not all those photographs you see on postcards. You know, people have trekked way in down the back roads to find these places, and that's where you'll find them. Like, so definitely take your time and just explore a bit more on it. The Wild Atlantic Way, you know, it's always been there. So they just kind of decided to call it the Wild Atlantic Way a couple of years ago. But look, it turned it into a thing. It turned it into an attraction. So people do come over and say, let's do the Wild Atlantic Way. And automatically people around the world know what it is, as opposed to saying, travel the west coast of Ireland. Definitely just parts of it, it's meh. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of going inland, but there is a lot of it is stunning. Now, to do the full length, you're going to need a long time to do it, because, like I said, it's like any of the peninsulas. You're going in and out all the little zigzags up along the country, like. But especially, okay, you have the Ring of Kerry, Beara Peninsula. You're coming up then, you're going into kind of Clare, Galway area, and that's stunning as well. Like I said, if you're going to try and keep to the coastal routes as much as possible, do you know, the Wild Atlantic Way it is a coastal route, but you can go further in. Do you know what I mean? You can, if you're nosy enough, you can go further in. Do you know? So you're going up past Galway, you're going up Connemara area. Connemara is beautiful as well. It's like a small Scotland. I've never been to Scotland now, from what I've seen, but Connemara is like a mini Scotland. Do you know what I mean? Like you're driving just paved routes down the middle of valleys. Do you know what I mean? And it looks like a small version of Scotland. It is beautiful. Like going up further, then, like myself and Patrina were in Donegal a few weeks ago, and we made our way up to I think it's always Mallinhead. Mallinhead is the most northern point in Ireland, like, and we made our way all the way up there, all along the Donegal coast, all up along there. It's beautiful as well. You can follow the signs, but do be nosy, spend time doing it, and just don't rush. Do you know what I mean? Just if you rush it, you're not going to see anything. Do you know what I mean? And then make your way up to Mallinhead, and if you get Mallinhead on a nice day or even a foggy day, it's stunning. It's beautiful up there. So yeah, it's definitely worth doing. Do the Ring of Kerry. Definitely do Beara, even though I am a Cork man, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cork man. Definitely do Beara and do the top part of Beara and take your time, because it is stunning. I would definitely recommend that. So yeah, the answer to that question, take your time. If you have the time, do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're going to take your time, how long would you say is a good time to give yourself then to explore that west coast of Ireland? Okay, well, I mean, are we talking a month or are we talking?
No. Well, you can make it as long as you want, really. But if you're just on a holiday, do you know, if you're on a holiday but you were tight for time, give yourself the week. Okay. Now I'm in an army transport company. I can leave Cork in the morning, and I might have to be up in Donegal, a barracks in Donegal on the same day. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being in a transport company, Ireland got very small for me. Do you know what I mean? It suddenly became, I could be anywhere within a couple of hours, because, you know, you had to bring something up to Donegal, or you had to be, you know what I mean? So, whereas when you're younger and you haven't been to different areas of Ireland, like, it just seems so far away.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to explore and you had a week, maybe a bit longer, and you wanted to take the time, then do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's definitely been on my radar. I've been, for the last sort of 2-3 years now, I've been saying every year, I'm like, right, I'm going to Ireland this year, I'll do it. And one thing or another's come along. Obviously 2 years we had COVID, but things have just turned up and I've just not been able to get across. And I'm not going to be able to do this year either, sadly. But I'm like, next year, I've got to be able to get over next year. And I'm dying to do exactly that, just explore the whole West Coast and take some time doing it. Me again, folks, just another shout out for this week's sponsors, who are the Influencer Store. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. And now, if you've got any of my merch over at TeapotOne.com, all of that is handed by Roger and Charlotte over at the Influencer Store. It's really good quality. It's British made. That's why I've gone with them. So a huge thanks to the Influencer Store. Lastly, folks, this is just one from me. It's a massive shout out to each and every one of you who's listened to the podcast, each and every one of you that watches the vids, both here and across on the main TeapotOne channel. Thank you very much for all your support. Thank you very much for engaging in the comments, liking and sharing the social media stuff, liking and sharing the vids. Sharing vids is a huge thing. Really is. You've got no idea how much that helps. You bump you up in the algorithm. So if you enjoy what you watch, what you listen to, share it amongst all your mates. And thank you very much. For all those of you over in the clan on Patreon, not much I can say except, a heartfelt thank you. You folks go that extra mile, and I really do appreciate it. I couldn't do this without your support. If you fancy checking that out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. Okay then. Let's get back to the chat.
Take the time. Definitely give Beara a day. Now that's it. That is exploring as well. But that's not stopping off in places and getting food every 2 hours and stuff. Do you know what I mean? If you have, give it time. Give the Ring of Kerry time. Give Beara time. Give Connemara time. If you had the time, spend about a week. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't have a lot of time, but just give it a week, and then you could kind of stay in areas and use a place like a hub, like you would in Switzerland or something like that, where you just pick, say, Andermatt, and then you're like going from Andermatt for 4 or 5 days and going around to all the different places. Do you know?
Yeah.
But the whole Wild Atlantic Way, giving it a week, you probably will miss out on a few things. But if you want to get kind of chat to people, and maybe you might end up staying in Dingle for an extra night or something. Do you know what I mean? The Guinness is good, or someone might say, "Actually, you'll stay another night there. There's a band tomorrow night now, and it's going to be brilliant." You might kind of go, "Yeah," and that's what makes those areas so good, and that's why you need the time, because you'll meet people who'll drag you to stay there, and you'll have a good crack. Do you know what I mean? So like you can always, not book your ferry home and, book the ferry the day before or something. Do you know what I mean? You can always, that type of way, but definitely give it the time. Yeah.
I think if I was to do it, I'd be planning on like a 2-week road trip just to give myself time to get there, explore, have some fun, see what happens, and then get back. Yeah. So I reckon sort of 2 weeks is what I'd be looking at. Yeah. Nice one. Cheers, Mark. Thank you for that question, pal. Next one, Dave Watrit. Evening, lads. I'm actually coming home for a few weeks. Shock horror. Dave is a long-distance lorry driver in the entertainment sector. He does loads of massive, big, huge groups. He goes all over the world doing the logistics in the lorries, all the stage and all the kit.
That's a tough lifestyle. A tough lifestyle.
He's always away. So he says he'll be home very soon. I'll have time for the bike at last. My usual question. I've got a couple of days with no direction in mind. Where would you head to in the UK? Also for Mark, can you convince our bearded pal that the XR is actually better than a GS? So no prizes for guessing what bike Dave owns.
Yeah, XR, buddy. I'll let you answer the English one, for the Great Britain one first, because I have been in areas in England, but you'd probably be more versed to answer that question, just about where to go in England. Like,
yeah, I'd just say Scotland. Just go Scotland. There's amazing places.
I'd be surprised
in England.
if you didn't.
there's amazing places in England. There's stunning places in Wales, but I just think I thought personally, I just think Scotland beats all of them, and it's just. If you're going to do a trip in the UK, you can only do one place. Go to Scotland and just like head towards Fort William and enjoy everything all around that area and north.
Head towards Glencoe and all that areas.
Yeah. Do Glencoe, go through Fort William, do Skye. I mean, Skye's stunning itself. Skye is like Scotland on one tiny little island. It's beautiful. Wow. And all up the west coast, do the Applecross, do the Drovers Road, do all that. It's awesome. It's amazing. So for me, Scotland. What about you then, Mark?
Yeah. I haven't explored around Wales. I've only passed through. When I've gone into Europe, sometimes I've gone Rosslare to Cherbourg or straight into France. But sometimes I have gone Fishguard, then go across Wales, across England, then Harwich to Doka, Holland. Do you know? So I haven't gone up north. I have been around the Leicester area before, the Uppingham area. That's really nice bike roads there. But Petrina recently passed her full bike test, so we are planning. Like, we have a trip. We are going to go do a big 2-week trip next year into Europe, but hopefully in the meantime we are going to try and get to Scotland. I've never been to Scotland.
Have you not ever?
Never been to Scotland. No, never.
Oh man, got to go.
I've only had the motorcycle traveling bug since about 2004. That's when it kind of started for me. So I've been over a few times. The last time I was in Europe was 2014.
Yeah.
So, after that, Maya was born. Maya was born in 2015. And after that, then just it had to go on the back foot. Do you know what I mean? Then other few things happened, and then COVID, and then everything, so it just hasn't happened. So we were meant to go on we're meant to go to Poland this year. Maya's mum is Polish, so they go over to their Maya's grandparents in Poland for 2 weeks in the summer. Yeah. So Maya was always asking me, like, I said it one time, geez, I'd love to come over to you sometime when you're over and just stay over in the city somewhere and bring the motorbike. But she never forgot it. And she like, I said it to her when she was small, like, and she never forgot it. And every year ever since, she's like, Dad, you're going to bring the bike over to Poland this year? I was like, sweetie, maybe. And we were meant to do it this year, but because of the restrictions with the bike testing, we didn't get to do it. We were going to do it, but we just couldn't book it just in case. So
what's that then? What restrictions are those?
It's just it takes time. Like, once you do your IBT, the training, there's no guarantee. You might get your call for your test a month later, two months later. Like, it's depends on which county you're in, and how busy they are. You mightn't get called for a test for 2 or 3 months.
Right.
So by time Petrina had done her IBT and completed her IBT, there was no guarantee she'd have her full license.
Right,
so
gotcha.
we weren't going to risk going into Europe with a provisional license, because now I know people who have done it and they've been fine, but completely, as soon as you leave the island, your insurance is null and void. And if the cops stop you and they see you're on provision, like they're not stupid, like they know what a provisional license is like. They go, sorry buddy, good luck, you're going on the back of your friend's bike there, you know.
Exactly. And it's very much by the book in Europe. In terms of the old bill, you know, I think a lot of the time in the UK, if you're dealing with a copper, you can talk your way out of a few things as long as it's not massively serious. But in Europe, nah, it's just bang. That's it. This is what's happening for sure.
They can be, yeah. And if you show any attitude whatsoever, they'll come down heavy on you, and you're not going to win. You're not going to win with them, like unless you're a copper yourself and you want to get it. Hey, I'm a cop, so take a picture, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, you know.
I'll not comment on that.
Yeah, so I've seen that happen before, but if you're not connected to them professionally or anything like that, then forget about it. If you're breaking the law, they don't care. They're going to do you like.
That's true, 100%. So okay, if not the UK, where would you suggest them for Dave? Oh, you there?
Sorry, just the old internet there, just checking it there.
All right, no worries. If not the UK, from where you've been, where would you recommend Dave goes then for a couple of days? You
don't know what part of the UK is in?
Don't worry about that. Just like if you had the option to go anywhere, and you've got a couple of days. By anywhere, I mean like the UK, Ireland, or possibly across into Europe if you wanted to do that. Let's push the boundaries a bit. Mainland Europe. Where would you go?
Well, taking into consideration that he's on the continent constantly, he might not want to. I was
just thinking that. Yeah,
he might just vomit at the side of a ferry. Do you know what I mean? And the smell of the fumes. Like, no, I enjoy getting on ferries. I love the way the door closes up, and you're at home, and next thing the door opens up again 16 hours later, and you're in a completely foreign land. I love that. Yeah. I'm guessing he doesn't want to get on a ferry for a while, so. Definitely, yeah. Look, Scotland. I've never been there. I've seen pictures. Go to Scotland. I heard the Lake District is good in the UK. I think there's more than enough books and reviews out there of best biking roads in Britain. Do you know what I mean? I think, Wales, Scotland, Lake District in the UK, possibly. I just assuming he doesn't want to get on a ferry.
Go to Simon Weir's website, simonweir.co.uk, and he's got every part of the UK. He's got routes.
Simon Weir.
He's got tour. Yeah, Simon Weir, weir.co.uk. He wrote...
Simon Weir.
That's his latest one, Britain for Bikers. There.
And he's thought of it all. The ring binders. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Laminated paper so it doesn't get... Yeah, it's all sorted.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
If you go on his website, nice one. If you go on his website, I think his routes are something like 90p or 95p now. They were 70p, but he's put them up, so you can get a whole day's ride there for like 90p or something. Whatever.
That's worth it. That's definitely
worth doing. Nice one. Cheers for that, Dave. Enjoy your travels wherever you go. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, maybe he should just pack the bike and just go. Pick a direction and just go and see where it takes him for a week and a half, maybe.
I love doing that. I love that. Yeah.
Just clear the mind. Just spin. Just make a compass on a piece of paper. Spin a bottle, and wherever it goes, north, south, east, west, go that direction, and just take the 2 weeks off. Bring your tent with you. Bring your stuff with you. That's it, and just go.
Mega. Maybe awesome. I forgot how much I enjoyed that style of traveling, because not like for the last few years, wherever I've gone, I've been going somewhere. you know, and it's just like, right, I've got it's A to B type travel is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Whereas I never used to do that. I just used to go, and like we didn't, when I went on tour with my mates, we didn't even have a hotel booked. You didn't worry about that till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you just, okay, whereabouts are we? Jump on the internet, booking.com, that'll do. Off there.
Yeah.
And that's where I really like, I'm going to give them a shout out here. It's not meant as an ad, but Kalimoto, because it's got that random ride function on it. You can just ride in a direction, stop and go, right, just give me a random route. Or if you need to get to point B, chuck point B in and just let that thing work out the route. And off you go. And there's, loads of the sat nav apps do similar stuff now. But I like that, just the random nature of it. Off you go and just follow it, see where you go.
Yeah.
Right, next one. Last one of the patron questions. Harley, how's it, guys? Aliens. Do you think we would ever interact with them in our lifetime? Absolutely. I think it's round the corner now. What do you think about aliens? I think we already have. And
you think so?
I do. Yeah. I think we've already had contact.
Yeah. No. Yeah, there's definitely, I reckon there has been contact, I would say. Yeah. I think it would be ignorant and human nature of us to think that we haven't and nobody's watching us and we're the only ones here.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist or I'm not any of those type things, but like the infiniteness of the galaxy and space, to think that we're the only crowd here. Definitely. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder to cancel the fact that there has been contact made. But I think there is people on this planet, and obviously human nature, that wouldn't be able to handle the fact that there is aliens. Now, the alien, if there is, like, it mightn't be what we have in our head. Aliens are green men. You know, it could be a slug with 4 eyes that came off a meteor. Do you know what I mean? It might not be E.T.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, the planet is around a long time, and the rest of space is around even longer. And to think that nothing has crossed, has passed our way, is just quite closed-minded, I think.
Definitely. When you look at these pictures that are coming out now from this new telescope that they have, you know, I can't remember what it is. Is it the John Webber telescope or something? There's a satellite.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
they sent out into deep space decades ago, and it's now reaching it's starting to send back images. So it's sending back some of the most detailed images we've ever seen of deep space. And as you just said, look at the vastness of it, and like the tiny little pinprick that you can see in this image is the entire known galaxy which we are part of, or whatever our galaxy is that the Earth is part of. That's that tiny little pinprick in amongst this massive just vastness of stuff in space, all these other galaxies, and you're like,
and there's billions of those pinpricks.
Yeah, there's got to be other things out there. It just has to be.
Yeah,
surely.
There's another Bruce out there. There's another Bruce out there riding around on an XR.
One that's actually gone and got a KTM. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Do you ever listen to, like, Joe Rogan's a big one on this? He has people Jeremy Corbell and all them on, and they talk about, like, interdimensional travel, and they were talking about this recently with Jeremy Corbell. And he was saying, he doesn't think aliens are just coming from another planet. He thinks they're possibly coming from a different dimension, and they're jumping in and out of interdimensions. My head was just going, I can't even think about it because I can't compute this. It just doesn't work. I don't get it.
I'm going down to Tesco's for beer. That's too much.
I find it fascinating, particularly when you get people like Professor Brian Cox, proper full-on physicists who come on and they sit there and go, actually, the probability is that there are lots of different dimensions. That's what all the evidence points towards. And then you're just like, oh Jesus, I can't cope with this.
Yeah.
What?
But, like, we're so far away. We are so far away from where we need to be to actually understand and see things like this. We're still like like how, you know, when you think about how long do we have cars? Like, we're not that long ago. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're so far away from where we kind of should be, you know, technology wise. Like, it would be great to fast forward like 100 years and see where technology is. You know?
Absolutely. You see how far we've come in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, where are we going to be in 1,000 years time? Wow.
Yeah. Well, in the last, let's just, well, to be honest, in the last, how would you say, in the last 20 years, technology was kind of coming along like this, and then it just it skyrocketed, because just look at the mobile phones. Like, what you can do with a mobile phone now. With that, if you went back to 1990 and you showed someone like, this is what we have, this bloody Samsung yoke, it's annoying, like the battery doesn't last very long. They'd be looking at the back and going, what the hell is that like? Do you know what I mean? It's like where we've come since, say, around 1990. Do you know what I mean? It's gone really fast, and like technology has sped up a bit, but it's all down to funding, and if the money's there as well, like to research this as well, like depends on how bad they want it, you know. True.
And then as you just said, the mass populate. I mean, do we need to worry about this sort of stuff? No, because all we really need to worry about is keeping a roof over the family's head and food on the table, isn't it? At the end of the day, that's human nature, isn't it? Provide for your family and exist. So at the end do we need to worry about it? No. Am I interested? Absolutely. And, you know, I quite like to broaden the mind sometimes and listen to some of these people that come on, like Rogan and all these other podcasts. And it's just boggling, isn't it? Mind-boggling to hear what potentially could be out there. Or what is out there.
It's when you realize, when you're like you're here and you're worrying about getting food on the table every day. You're not really worrying about, you're putting food on, you're doing your daily tasks, your daily stuff that you need to do. But then you sit down, you relax, and you go listen to Joe Rogan, whatever, and while you were making sure you had oil in your engine, and while you made sure you were collecting the kids from school, or you're visiting your mom or whatever else, this people like Brian Cox is over here, you know, figuring out how to, you know, see into the next dimension. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you're kind of going, what am I doing every day? If there's people out here like, geez, I found a tenner on the ground today and I was delighted. There's Brian Cox, like, and he probably has a computer talking to some alien in fucking the far side of Mars, like.
I was impressed with the fart I just did. That made an awesome noise. Yeah. He's working out.
I can't believe no one heard that. You know what I mean? In the meantime,
I would love to get somebody like, I'd love to go and watch that roadshow that Brian Cox is doing just now. He's doing an incredible sort of roadshow about the universe.
It's like a spoken word roadshow, is it?
Yeah. I'd love to go and see it, but I'd love to get him on a podcast. I'd love to sit and like have a deep I'd be out my depth after the opening sentence, but I would love to just sit and listen to the guy talk about stuff and be able to ask questions as and when my little brain went, what about this? Are ghosts real? All this sort of stuff.
I love listening. Yeah, I sit there, like I see these guys in the snippets of Joe Rogan's podcast. Yeah. So when you have Elon Musk talking about how far AI is, artificial intelligence, and how dangerously close it is to being self-aware, if you want to use that term, like that's in a snippet, and that draws you in. It's like, okay, why am I listening to this? You know? And then you're listening to the Brian Cox ones as well, and Joe Rogan asks, and these are only like 15, 30-second snippets. But like completely, like I'm all ears when I hear these snippets. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that type of thing would interest me. Like, but there's times there you just have to turn it off and just get ready for work. Get the boots ready.
A taste of your reality, don't you? Because otherwise you end up falling down that wormhole, don't you? It's interesting what you said about AI being self-aware. Have you heard what? It's one of the chief Google people who's responsible for like coding the algorithm for Google. They've turned around and said, we think it is now self-aware, as in Google is now self-aware. And this was massive news, literally for like a few days, and then it's just gone. Now it's just disappeared again. No one's really talking about it anymore. But I remember like Rogan, and he had a couple of, because he does 3 podcasts a week, doesn't he? And they're all towards the end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they come out normally. And every guest, it was obviously the hot topic, and everyone was talking about how Google have come out and said, we think our AI is now self-aware, or is very much on the brink of. Yeah. And there was loads of people like, they didn't have Elon Musk, but they had similar type of people that he was chatting to, and they were all like, this could be catastrophic. You know, and they're going down various scenarios, positive and negative. And then all of a sudden it's just gone. No one's worried about it anymore.
That's because the AI deleted it from the internet. That's why.
This isn't the stuff you want to worry yourself about.
Oh,
have a look at a dog catching a ball.
That was Look, that was just a joke. That was a Google joke. Here's a guy farting in front of his wife.
Have you seen expert marriage tips? Have you seen that?
No.
I think that's Instagram or TikTok. But again, in one of those little wormholes I found myself down scrolling, this thing came up, and it's a geezer probably a little bit older than me. I'd say he's in his late 40s, 50s maybe. And he's literally just standing talking to his phone with his wife behind him, and she's plainly got no idea what he's going to say, and he just goes, expert marriage tip.
Yeah,
and he comes
I think I saw that. Yeah,
it's brilliant.
And she comes running after with the frying pan or a rolling pin or something and bashes the head off. I've seen those clips. Yeah, they're quite humorous actually. Yeah.
Mate, how are you for time? Because we've been waffling for a while now.
I'm good to go. My internet kind of fades in and out, but look, it touch wood, it seems to be going good there the last hour.
We're on a run at the moment, aren't we? Nice one.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much to everybody that submitted questions there over on Only Clans. That we're now over on Insta, so that's TeapotOne Insta, and I'll leave all Mark's socials in the description down below. First one, Kerry Moto Girl. Question for both. This is your missus, isn't it? Yeah,
that's my missus.
Question for both. What's the best road trip you've ever been on, and one place you'd recommend to definitely go for a spin? So kind of similar to what we've chatted about.
Yeah.
Best place you've ever been?
I'm going to say Austria. I loved Austria. I love the Alps. My sister got married in Meyerhofen in Austria. She was due to get married in Santorini. Is that how you pronounce it in Greece? Santorini, so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was the time all the airlines were going bankrupt. So the airline that we were due to go to Santorini on went bankrupt. I think it was XL Air was called, and strangely enough, it was actually the airline that brought us to Africa as well. When I went to Africa in 2000, so it was kind of weird. But anyway, they went. So my dad skis in Austria a lot. He goes down and skis in Austria a lot. So he knew a lot of the locals. Like he's been going to Austria every year since before I was born. So he managed to set the wedding in the local town hall, which was great, Mm-hmm. So my sister was on the phone to me and she was like, okay, Mark, the flights are going to cost this much. We will subsidize and stuff. And I was like, you do realize I'm not flying to Austria. Like I have a GS. I'm going to pack the GS and I'm going on a bike trip, So I ended up driving to Meyerhofen on a solo trip. I went across France into Switzerland, down into Austria, and it was fantastic. I loved it, and everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're going on your own." It's so weird going on your own. You don't speak French, you don't speak German, you don't speak any of this stuff. I was like, "Sure, look." It was really good, and then on the way back, then I gave myself 2 days to get back from Meyerhofen to the Hook of Holland, but we were having such a great time down in Austria. I stayed an extra night, so I had 1 day to get back from Meyerhofen up to the Hook of Holland. Yeah. Now I don't know how many kilometers that is, but I was on the GS for 14 to 15 hours straight in the 1 day. It's the longest I've ever done.
It's a trip.
I'll never do it again. It was a bit crazy, but definitely Austria, the Alps. I love it down there.
It's proper picture postcard type stuff, isn't it? It's chocolate box scenery around the Swiss Alps. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful. Yeah. The colour of the water in the lakes is that sort of aqua.
Everything.
Oh, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Everything.
I think
so definitely definitely Austria. I love Austria, and hopefully now next year the two of us will have 2 weeks in Europe, Poland down to Austria, maybe into Italy, across France. Just can't wait. Just really looking forward to it now. Big trip next year.
Yeah, you got to do, if you're going over that way, you got to do Stelvio, and then because you'll do some of the best parts of Switzerland there, right over in the east. And then if you do the Dolomites in northern Italy, that's really. I thought I'd done the Dolomites before. I hadn't. I wasn't in the Dolomites. So the last time I went to Switzerland a couple of years ago, we did Stelvio and back across the top through the Dolomites, and it's amazing. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, just stunning. Yeah. Beautiful part of the world.
I'm gonna factor all that in next year for next year's trip. Definitely, 100%. So yeah. All right, babe. Austria, best place.
And one place you'd recommend to definitely go for a spin? For me, it would be Spain. Spain.
Yeah?
For me.
Spain.
Oh, yeah. Stunning. Amazing, beautiful, great weather, fantastic roads, great biking culture, as in everyone is bike aware and generally pro-bike, so they'll move out the way for you. Old Bill aren't fussed as long as you keep it out the towns and villages. Yeah, they're fine. Great. Love it.
Yeah. I love countryside France. Mm-hmm. I love the yellow buildings and the wide open fields where there's no ditches.
Yeah.
I just love the small little cafes and the small villages like that in France. I love that. I really love driving through those areas.
There's nobody there. The amount of times I've gone through France and you go through these villages and there's no one there. There's cars, there's houses, they're all shuttered up, and there's nobody there.
Really?
It's like 28 days later.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just love the peacefulness of it, the calmness of it. Yeah. People just going about their business, and it's just all, go in for a coffee or something and just chill out there. There's no one rushing you away like you're in a big city. It's just nice if you've been on a long trip or something, just pull up. If you're staying in one of the B&Bs there, I wouldn't give a crap if the roof was falling in. Do you mean, as long as it looks French? Just happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? Just somewhere chilled where there's no one bloody screaming at you or just honking at you or something, somewhere, anywhere like that,
Yeah, absolutely. Totally with you on that. Nice one. Cheers for that one. Next one, Geoms. As humans, we like to put logic and answers to the irrational. My question, is there a particular conspiracy theory that you wholly believe is true? Awesome. I love these questions. Love it.
Did we not kind of touch on that subject with the aliens?
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's conspiracy theories outside of that, isn't there?
Yeah, there will be.
Okay, was JFK assassinated by his own government?
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Totally. Come on, like, some bloke with
it's just a load of bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah. Someone definitely just didn't want him there anymore, and just it's like Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I remember moving to the firearms command in the old Bill, and that topic came up, the magic bullet, and the instructors were just like, think about it. He said, yeah, bullets tumble. They're designed to tumble, but just no. It's just that will not happen. That they're saying one bullet has gone in and done whatever they said it has done. It's like, no. That didn't happen at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any conspiracy theories top of my head. JFK is probably the biggest one. I don't really look into it because it blows my mind as well.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes I just don't want to accept the truth and things. Like, I just want to get on with my day. Like,
I don't think it's healthy either to get obsessed with stuff like that. It's not healthy. Like, it's almost, I don't mean to be defeatist, and that's not what I'm meaning to be. But sometimes, sometimes things happen outside of our pay grade, don't they? Like, the world's a beautiful, amazing place, but it can also be quite a dirtied, dark place where things have to be done, and they're not always the right thing. Is that the right word? Do you know what I mean? Like, certain decisions have to be made. Yeah, exactly. Certain decisions have to be made. Certain things sometimes have to be done, which are maybe outside of the accepted norm for most of us.
Yeah.
But you're not talking about normal situations, are you? And I don't think we should I don't think we should know about everything that is going on to the same extent. If we find out about it, then I want to know why, and I want to know the reasons behind it for sure. But I think sometimes ignorance is bliss, because I don't think we're designed to know everything. And
well, there is the conspiracy theory that why interest rates go up and down, why fuel costs go up and down, because it keeps us corralled. Mm-hmm. It keeps us busy and away from truths about certain things.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So when you're there and you're kind of struggling each week, maybe with your wages or whatever else, and next thing you know, it's coming out online about certain things, and something's been mentioned. Interest rates might go up. That'll take your focus off things that might be true, a bit of a conspiracy theory. Oh no, but now I've got to find money somewhere else now to reach my mortgage, or to now, geez, petrol's gone up, crazy prices, shortage of petrol, all the common. The common everyday stuff that we have to do. Like, we have to go shopping, we have to get food, we have to put fuel in our cars. I'd say 70 to 80% of people need transport, their own personal transport every day. We have to put fuel in that, we have to put oil in that. The conspiracy theory there that's behind, why things go up and down, fluctuate, because it keeps our mind focused on these little small problems, while the big problems up here are just passing us by, and we don't see any of that shit. Do you know what I mean? We don't see the stuff that's affecting us, what's keeping us subdued, what's keeping us in our little corral.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I definitely would kind of believe that some degree. There's definitely somebody or some people pulling the strings on a global scale. That's.
Do you I mean, this is massively. This is us properly delving into the dark box here, so to speak. The Illuminati and all that sort of stuff. Do you? I mean, do I think there's a secret society? I don't know if I believe in that, like a secret society. But as you just said, are there like a squad of people who ultimately are the ones making the decisions in terms of energy, food, commerce?
Yeah.
Yes, I do think that.
I can't see there being kind of a society that meet in robes and slap each other's asses with fucking paddles in a pyramid somewhere. But I would definitely believe that there is a group of, extremely wealthy people who are pulling strings that has chain reactions around the globe, that it's been done for maybe hundreds of years. I don't know. It's been done for years anyway. And it's a proven method of keeping the common people, and I don't mean, when I say common, I don't mean that as a derogatory term, but just the regular normal common people. Person, normal people, down and corralled so they can go about their businesses. But it's definitely like a pyramid. There's definitely someone on top, or a group of people on top, making decisions that affects everything. I do feel that. I definitely believe that anyway.
It's weird because I was a polar opposite when I was younger. I used to think all that was utter bollocks, but the older I get and the more you're sort of aware or exposed to different things around the world, not around the world, but around about you. As you get older, you get more experience, more life experience. And I 100%. I totally agree with you now. I totally agree. Yeah, but I'm almost apathetic about it because I'm just like, well, it's just the way it is. Well, as you just said, I've got other things to worry about. So, all right, you do your thing. Yeah. Just, where's my fuel? But like food. I'm safe.
If you think about it, if you think about it, if you're one of the mega rich in the planet, it wouldn't be hard to do, because if you're one of the mega rich on the planet, then you have your investments in lots of different areas. Like you have a certain amount of shares in this, certain amount of shares in that. You might own this company, own that company. And it wouldn't take much for the top 50 most wealthy people on the planet to get together in a room. And that 50 people have their hands in every business. You cumulatively, that 50 people will have their hands in every single business somehow on the planet, every single corporation, every single...
They've paused his, they've
a
paused
little
him.
bit of them.
Oh, he's back. He's back. You paused.
The what?
You paused in mid-flow.
Did
and
I?
I was like,
Okay.
it's them.
They're listening. They're listening. Yeah. So in that group, in that room of 50 people, you're going to have connections to every single business, every single oil company, every single corporation. It wouldn't be hard. Like think of it as a pyramid. All flows, like shit flows downhill. That's what they say. So if you get the top 50 most wealthy people on the planet in a room, you're going to have, you're connected to the entire planet some way, shape or form or the other.
But those people aren't going to be acting alone, are they? It's not just going to be 50 people. Those people are going to have personal assistants. They're going to have accountants.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So there's going to be a multitude of people for each of those 50 people. And people can't keep a secret.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's not possible. Yeah. People don't keep their mouth shut. So,
yeah.
But then again, I suppose there's been all these rumours, isn't there, about Illuminati and the blah, blah, blah.
I'll say one thing, what about you just said. JFK.
Yeah, Epstein. Yeah.
Epstein,
exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Accidents happened. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. True. Jesus, wow. This is like the most gritty one I think we've done so far. I love all this. It's
getting
stuff.
Deep into it now.
I could chat for 5 hours about all this bollocks. I love it.
I just don't have enough. If I had enough information in my head about things like this, I would sit here all night talking.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Which is why I love Rogan, because he's got like almost a photographic memory for facts, figures, and people, because he's had so many people on the podcast, doesn't he? And he's like had to research the guests. He's got all this information, and he just seems to be able to go down any alleyway in a conversation with anyone, and he's got some degree of an informed opinion on it.
He knows something about everything.
Yeah,
he's an encyclopedia on everything. Yeah,
I'm envious of that for sure, because for me it's just like it's there. I can grab a little bit there and go, there was something about this. I don't know the ins and outs about it, but what about this? Yeah. Anyway, right. Cheers for that, Geoms. Nice one. Joe.Sewell1. Hi, both. Hope you're all well. All good, thanks, Joe. 2 questions for you. 1.
All good.
Is there any bike that you previously owned, you'd buy back in a heartbeat, and why? Okay. Any bike you previously owned that you'd buy back in a heartbeat, and why?
Take it away there, Bruce. I'll think.
I would like... Well, the Suzuki GSX-R that I threw off a mountain in Germany when I had a massive crash over there, that was the best and fastest Gixxer I have ever owned. I don't know what Ollie, who used to work at Premier Motorcycles in West Wickham, I don't know what Ollie did to that bike, but it was a fucking weapon, and I would love to have that bike. Although there's not much point, because I'd either be dead or in jail very quick. But that was a weapon.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what he did to it, but that's the fastest Gixxer I've ever owned. It was crazy.
Super. Yeah. You'd have it back. You'd have it back in a heartbeat, would you?
I would, because I miss the sports bikes to the degree where I was even thinking the other day, for my next bike, could I return back to like my sports bike days? And I don't know if I could. I could, of course I could. But what would be the point? Because it's not as much fun as even a big adventure bike for normal road riding. You know, you can corner and ride faster on normal roads on the adventure bike than you can on the sports bike. Because by the time you've wound the sports bike up, you know, you're at another bend, or you're coming into a village, or you're going to be doing stupid speed. Whereas the GS or big adventure bikes, you can hover between 50 and 80 mile an hour, and you know, really snappy. It's lovely. It's punchy. It's comfortable. It does everything. It's practical.
Yeah.
Sports bike. I did think about the RR. I mean, the RR is quite a practical sports bike. But I would.
Which one is that? Is that the S1000?
S1000 RR, yeah. So
I had one.
It's a lovely bike. But I think I would just be in jail very quick, or dead.
Yeah, you kind of just want to get going on it. You just kind of you just need to go, because when on the RR, when you go over, I'd say once you hit, I don't know, say 70 miles an hour, you can sit up and the wind will hit your chest, and that just takes all the pressure off your wrists.
Yeah.
Like I rode one of them. I had a track day in one, so I rode from Cork up to Dublin, did the track day. It pissed rain during the track day. Then I drove back down to, where was it? Then to Wexford and then back to Cork in the one day, like, and I was soaking as well. And I had no numb bum, I had no sore wrists or nothing. So the S1000RR is an amazing sports bike to drive. Like it's a
touring track weapon.
100%. 100%. It's such a great bike. I just couldn't justify keeping it because I had the GS at the same time, and I was paying for two of them. I just couldn't justify, because I wasn't driving it enough. I was kind of coming out, having a few beers, sitting down, looking at it, and just kind of cleaning it all the time. It just didn't justify paying what I was paying for it, you know. So I ended up trading the RR and the 2009 GS I had for the 2014 GS I got, the liquid cooled. Yeah. So if I was to go back and get a bike that I used to own, it would probably be one of the Harleys that I used to have.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Now, if I could go back and get one of the bikes that I used to own, but still keep the bike I have, then I'd go back and get the Harley, definitely. I really didn't know what I had at the time, but it was obviously I knew it was a Harley, but it was a Harley Dyna lowrider. And it had come over from the States. It was a shop in Cork here. They import them from the States. And she was a 1440 bored out to a 1550. And it had a 6-speed Screaming Eagle gearbox in it. It had the extra rectifiers or whatever they are on it, the oil coolers and all that jazz. And she had a set of Reinhardt open pipes on it. This thing was an absolute fucking beast. She was a beast of a bike. And even with all of she was a very fast bike, an extremely fast bike. And I passed my bike test on that bike.
Really?
Because of the power to weight ratio at that time, I was able to do my bike test on that Harley.
That's insane.
I passed my bike test on that Harley. I traded in, what did I trade it in for? I traded it in for a Softail Custom. It was a Softail standard, but it was done up to look like a Fat Boy. And she had pipes that came down from the side and went up at the back, so you couldn't put saddlebags on it. But this thing was loud. It was loud, and it was so comfortable. And I ended up getting some like 14 or 15-inch apes on it, so I was up here on it.
Well, you had the ape hangers on it.
Oh, completely. I love the apes. If I ever get a Harley, pick up a Harley, it'll either have a high T-bar or it's going to have apes. I just find going into bends, you have more leverage. You're because you're kind of coming out like this, you just pull down and she'll just slink into the bends like this.
Right.
I had a 1500 Vulcan years ago, and I got bikini beach bars, they were called, and they were really wide ones, but they were out like this.
Yeah.
And I nearly killed myself several times on it. I just couldn't. So I was on the Harley, up here like this. Plus you get a good stomach as well. Yeah. You're in the wind, you're like that, and your stomach is clenched, and you're like this, and you're just driving like that, you know. And you're going into bends, and all you have to do is slightly pull down on it or slightly counter steer, and the bike just goes like that. Wow. And she was beautiful handling bike, stunning handling bike. That was the Softail. But definitely, if I could keep my sports tourer or my touring bike, I would go for the lowrider. Now, I don't know if I could only go back onto a Harley. Maybe I could go back. I could if I could only have a Harley, I would probably go for a Street Bob, because it's a kind of an all-rounder. You can pack the back of it up with your touring gear, and off you go. And they're comfortable bikes, you know. The Dyna lowrider, she was an animal of a bike. She was beautiful.
I've been really positively impressed by the Harleys, like the traditional Harleys, Milwaukee engine Harleys. The Pan America I like because it's something totally off-brand for Harley, and you know, for a first attempt, I think it's a bloody good first attempt. Not that taken with the Sportster S for me. No, don't like personally. It's not got the soul of like a traditional Milwaukee engine Harley for me.
I'm at the stage where the bike has to be fun but practical as well. I need to be able to load up the back of that with gear, with stuff. I don't have the luxury at the moment of having a bike where you can't put someone on the back or put gear on the back, or it's a struggle to put stuff on the back to go touring. Do you know what I mean? My focus now is to have a bike that I can go touring on. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing like that feel. Like Ewan McGregor said that there's nothing like that feeling of strapping your tent and your shit to the back of the bike, excuse me, and off you go.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? If I can't strap stuff to the back of the bike, I don't want it completely. Do you know?
See, I have this weird part of me that likes. I like to be different. I like, says the man with the GS, I know, but I like to be the person. Like for me, turning up at a track day with a GS, I love that. Doing a trip around the world on a Gixxer, I love that. Doing around the UK on a 125, I love that, because it's something that people don't normally do. No, it's not like nobody's ever done it. I'm not bothered about that. It's like, it's not the norm. So that's what I quite like. So
was that the video you did with Richie Vida and one of the other lads?
With Fish,
yeah. You were on the 125s.
Yeah, that was the Big Little Adventure. But I've subsequently, since that, I did around the UK in. Well, I tried to do. It's a 48-hour iron butt ride, basically. So you do. You go from your starting point wherever that is. Then you have to do Land's End, St David's, John O'Groats, and what's the Lowestoft. So you've got to do the most northerly, southerly, easterly, and westerly point in Wales. So it's all the sort of England, Scotland, and Wales. You've got to do the extremes. South, west, north, east of those. And the idea is you do it within 48 hours. And I thought, I'm never going to do that on a 125. But I did it in 2.5 days. So, it's not a bad effort. And I'm doing, at the end of this month, I'm doing that same ride on an electric bike. And the plan is to try and get it done in under 4 days if I can. So
really?
Yeah, that's my game.
That electric bike you just posted on your video. She's sexy bike.
She's a good looking bike, isn't it?
She looks like the Multistrada.
Yes, totally. It handles beautifully as well.
Stunning. She's an absolutely stunning bike now. You seem to be driving a lot of electric bikes lately.
I've not ridden a lot of late, but I've been riding electric bikes since 2018. So I've ridden a lot of them. I've got quite a lot of content now, and dare I say it, experience of riding the bikes now since about 2018, and I think they're great. I think they're really, really good. They're fun, they're engaging, they're everything that I thought they wouldn't be. I don't, to be honest, I don't miss the noise of the engine. I'd rather have a petrol bike, but I don't miss not having the petrol engine when I'm riding the electric, because there's other things that I enjoy with the electric that aren't as prevalent on a petrol bike. But for me, it's the infrastructure. The infrastructure was fine a couple of years ago, but there's so many more people now using electric that the infrastructure it's growing, but it's not being maintained. So I tend to find now when I'm out, like doing a review of an electric bike, whereas before it was a rarity to find a charging station that was out of order or occupied. Now it's almost a rarity to get the first one and have it empty or working. It's like that. So this is going to be an interesting thing to do around the UK and just see how practical it is.
But there is like the charging station situation in the UK. It's pretty good though, isn't it?
It is good, but again the problem is there's lots of them, but they're just not maintained. A lot of them are not maintained. It's changing, because at the moment there's a big company called GridServe that apparently has been given like a contract or something. So they're bringing in a lot more chargers, and they have a maintenance schedule for those chargers. Whereas the ones that are there at the moment, some of them have been out of use for 3 months, 4 months. So it's just like, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. Like the price it probably costs for them to put that in. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But it's going to get to the stage where they'll have to maintain it. Do you know what I mean? Because do you think it's going to get popular? Do you think there's going to be a lot more electric bikes on the road, or do you think it's going to be a situation where, well, the electric bike and the electric car thing will go this far, and then something else will come in and completely take over?
I think right. I'm pro-electric in the sense of it's happening, it's coming. There's nothing more we can do about this. All cars, all new cars by 2030 or 2035 are going to have to be electric. They've just announced all new motorbikes as of, is it 2040 or 2038? They're all going to have to be electric. So it's not just cars now, it's coming to the bike world as well.
Okay.
So in that sense, it's happening in our lifetime. Hopefully we last that long, but it's happening.
Okay.
At the moment, I don't think the infrastructure's there to cope with it. And for me, it's not the vehicles themselves. Electric bikes, electric cars, they're great. They're fine. And I think the range, everyone goes on, oh, this one's got 130, 140 mile range of normal, proper riding, how you and I would ride a bike. It will do it. You're not nursing the throttle. It will do 130, 140 miles of having some fun. And people go, oh, it's ridiculous. I need a 200 mile range. Fuck off, you do. Fuck off, you do. How many people sit there and do 200 miles every single time? They don't, do you? You'll do 70, 80, maybe 100 miles, stop, fill up, have a bite to eat, whatever it is, cup of tea, fag, whatever you're doing. So I think the range now, personally, is fine. But it's just the infrastructure. It's the fact it takes 20 minutes to refuel. Some of them are 40 minutes to refuel. The fact that the chargers aren't maintained a lot of the time. The fact that if everybody is going to be on electric, well, there's already queues at times now.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it with cars,
of people. Yeah. So if you imagine, if you're going from a small percentage of people are on electric vehicles and we're getting queues for the current infrastructure, we're fairly quickly, you're talking 15, 20 years' time, everyone is going to be on electric.
Yeah.
Is the infrastructure going to grow to allow for all that? And this part of the conspiracy part of me comes in and goes, well, no, it's not. But they don't want everyone to be out using their cars and their bikes the way that we currently do with petrol. They don't want that. The whole point of this is to sort of lower the impact on the environment and to reduce traffic on the roads. Well, this is a great way to do it, because if you can't charge your bike or your car up, you can't use it, can you?
Yeah. So that's going back to the pyramid control thing again.
That's part of me thinking that. And then the other part of me is, I don't think electric is the answer. It's not as environmentally friendly. I think now when I look at the evidence that I've seen, it's just not. I don't think it's even as environmentally friendly as petrol is at the moment. But I think something else will come in at some point. If it's not there already, synthetic fuels, if they ever figure out an economic way of doing hydrogen, whatever it is, alternative energy, whatever it is. I think that's going to come in. But as I've said to loads of people in comments who've chatted on that last video I've done, I kind of think the likes of Shell, Total, BP, all the big energy companies, they've invested trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into electric now, and that's coming to the fore. They're not just going to go, actually, forget that, let's move on to something else. They're going to want a return over the next decade, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. They're going to want a return for that investment, aren't they? And I think once they start seeing a return to make a profit on this investment, then we'll start seeing this new energy, alternative energy being dripped in, and we'll move on to that one. Personally, that's kind of what I think will happen.
But you're going to have issues like at the moment it's still relatively new, the electrics, okay? But like when it comes to start having to change batteries in cars, to change batteries in some cars is the same price as the car itself.
Yes.
And then you're going to have, like, I saw a photograph of it. Where was it in Asia somewhere, where they had a lot of electric taxis or something, and they were broken, like they were finished, like the life had been gone, like, and there was like acres of these small little cars just left lying there, with all these dead batteries in it. It's I think there's going to be too many problems with the batteries in these cars and motorbikes further down the line. At the moment it's still new. Like, is it the Prius? Everyone jumped on the Prius when it came out, but now it's starting. The Prius is around a long time. It's now time to start changing the batteries in them. and people are finding out to change the battery in the Prius is almost the same cost as the Prius.
Yeah.
Do you know, you're going to have this problem then of cars being stacked up. Some are cars and motorbikes and electric vehicles. And then you're going to have the problem of disposing of all these batteries.
Yeah, what do you do with them now? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the long-term problems of the batteries is being kind of hidden away at the moment. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. But I like what you said. I don't think batteries are not going to be the solution. Definitely not.
No, absolutely, I totally agree. But my worry is that they either haven't put the foresight and forethought into what they're going to do eventually with the byproduct of this move to electric, or they've thought about it and just thought, do you know what, don't care, going to make our money and just now and that basically what we did with petrol, with fossil fuel, and that's kind of what they've done with that.
Ring it for whatever it's worth, and then
ring as much as you can out of it and let the next few generations pay for it. What they say about the batteries though is that just because they're no longer viable within a car or a motorbike, what they say they do with them after that is that they're going to be incorporated into power cells. So you'll take all these batteries and they get combined to produce like a power pack, which can then be used to power the chargers or power lights or do something like that. Okay. But eventually those batteries will no longer be fit for purpose. Okay. Then as you said, then what happens to them? Is it like the old nuclear waste that was just either buried or dumped out in the ocean? Who knows? I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen with it?
I think it'll be a case of what you just said. You're going to have somebody convincing people that possibly, conspiracy theory, you're going to have someone convincing the world that this is what we do with the dead batteries, and it's great, when you're actually just shipping them out to sea and dumping them in a deep part of the ocean, maybe, possibly, and not giving a shite about what happens afterwards.
Yeah,
that's only a theory, and I'm not saying that's happening, but there's a strong chance it could be happening already. Do you know?
I mean, let's look at what's actually happened so far. With our recycled waste. Well, it's now become apparent, and this is absolute fact, that we have paid China to take a lot of our recycled waste, not just us, but the West, and we've sent our recycled waste to China, and they burn it.
Yeah. That's actually, I remember seeing that, yeah.
We're paying them to dispose of our recycled waste. It's insanity. I mean, it's just insanity, isn't it? Anyway.
It's like that goes back to kind of, look at this hand here. Look how brilliant this hand is here, because you're not going to see what this hand is doing over here.
Don't worry what that one's doing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, again, it comes back to what I said. For me, it comes back to what I said earlier, in that, do I want to be aware of all this? Do I want to be concerning myself about this? It's like,
do I have enough time in my day? Do I have enough time in my day to do all my daily stuff and my daily worries in my little small part of this planet, to do all this stuff and worry about what's going on in the bigger picture as well? And that's, it's an ignorance thing, but it's also a thing where I don't have the time to think about this. Like, you're kind of worried every day you get up, you're worried about your kids, you're worried about if the bill is going to be paid at the end of the week, if you're going to get that phone call saying, you missed that payment there, buddy. Do you know what I mean? But you can't say, look, I missed the payment, but do you know what's going on in China? Do you know what's going on in China? Well, China will have to hold on now because you owe us 40 euros. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? No one fucking cares on this level. No one cares, but they keep us busy enough down here not to be looking at what's going on over there, I think.
But then it's also, part of me thinks, well, I've got a responsibility. I've got to play my part to make sure that I am fucked off about it, and I do voice my opinion about it, because if I don't, then it's my son or my son's son or my son's son's son, daughter, whatever,
exactly,
further down the line, who ultimately could be significantly impacted by it.
Yeah,
but it's completely. But you do just think, what can I do about it? Ultimately, what can we do about it? I suppose ultimately we can do a lot about it, but we'd have to act en masse, wouldn't we? Yeah. Because we're the consumer, and if we don't buy their product, if we don't use their product, they're not making any money.
But they've made the stuff that's harmful so convenient. Like,
absolutely.
How
and we're lazy.
How expensive is it to be healthy?
Mm-hmm.
It is so expensive to go for healthy options, though. Mm-hmm. You can go in to any fast food burger chain. Like, there's a chipper across the road. Okay, there's a chipper here across the road, and he does like a 9-inch pizza, chips, a dip, and a can of Coke for.
So hungry now. I'm so hungry.
€6.
What?
He does all that for €6. A guy from Afghanistan has a chipper across the road, and it's nice as well. It's not shite. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But if I want to go into the shop next door and get the healthy option, like, I'm paying a lot more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
It costs so much to be healthy, and it's just made that way. Like fast food, everything is so cheap. The easy option is always probably the worst option. You know what I mean?
Do you know, see, when COVID came, I turned around to my wife and I was like, we need to start growing some veg. And she looked at me and she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, honestly, look at the way things are going, because the supermarkets were just emptying. This was like before lockdown hit, like in the month in the build up to lockdown, wasn't it? When COVID was starting to rear its head and they were talking about we might need to lock down. People panic buyed. They panic bought everything, didn't they?
Remember,
Toilet paper, pasta, canned stuff. It all disappeared. And I said to my wife, I was like, we need
bomb shelters.
Well, we've got one next door. Our next door neighbour's got a Second World War bomb shelter. So I was like, John, really? I'm in there, son. Yeah, I'm in there, pal. I'll bring the booze.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was like, I genuinely think at some point within our lifetimes, I think within the next 40 years, we're probably going to have to be much more self-reliant than we already are in terms of food. Like growing your own tatties, your own veg. And being able to cover those things that we just go to the shop for. I mean, do you remember? Like, I don't know what it's like in Ireland, but here in the UK, there's a lot of like supermarket. Maybe not so much supermarket anymore. They seem to be getting a grip of it. But things like petrol stations where they have a little Tesco's added onto a petrol station. A lot of them, the shelves were empty because they couldn't get any stock through. There was just issues with the supply chain. Yeah. Still, to this day, some of the shelves are running empty.
Really?
You're like, well, it doesn't take long for what we know as a society to sort of break, really.
To dissolve slightly.
Yeah. And if you can't go to the supermarket and buy your bread or your milk or your meat or, whatever food it is that you eat, what do you do then? And I was just like, Maybe we need to have another string in the bow there, just to.
Yeah.
If it comes to it, I can at least grab some tatties out the ground and have some potatoes.
100%.
If it come to it.
100%. But you have to, like, certain news stations and media outlets are to blame for that mass hysteria as well, because those corporations are like they base their viewership on sensationalism and guess what's happening now and end of the world shit and all this, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to take a step back and say, hang on a second, they're blowing this out of proportion. But again, if you're just a busy person every day doing your everyday stuff and you just get home and you're wrecked and you turn on the telly, next thing certain news stations are saying this is happening, everyone out here is panic buying, and you're talking to the missus and you're going, why are they buying all the toilet paper? Why are they buying all the beans? Quick, let's go. Let's get something's happening. Something's happening that they're not telling us or something like that. And off you go. And unfortunately that's the society that we live in, I suppose. Especially with the news stations. And they always say that in America, like the news stations, they runs America, the news stations, because people actually, the masses believe what they're being told on the news stations, but that's a completely different conspiracy theory, and we don't have all night, I don't think.
Do you know, I don't watch the news anymore. I stopped watching the news during COVID, and then when the Ukraine war started, I watched some of the news for a week, for that first week, and then it became apparent that we weren't going to do anything about it, and it's just like, right, they're just going to be left to do their own thing, aren't they? So I just stopped watching the news, and genuinely, I feel so much better for it, because I remember that week I was really anxious, and I'm like, well, why am I anxious about it? Because what can I do about it? Nothing. But I felt really anxious about life, really, and started, thinking, fuck, are we on the brink of God knows what here? But at the end of the day, why worry about it? Just why worry about stuff like that? And so I just don't watch the news anymore, and I feel so much better for it.
Yeah,
so
I had popular news station apps on my phone, and I deleted them years ago because every single day when I woke up, I had the notifications. North Korea's doing this, China's doing this, telling people not the full story, obviously, what's going on, but twisting it to make it look, guess what's happening and you need to take cover and all this jazz. Do you know what I mean? I just deleted it. I had to delete it because waking up and you're there looking at it going, North Korea has launched another ballistic fucking missile into the Korean Ocean, whatever the fuck it's called. And, you're kind of going, I have to stop watching this.
But I'm also aware of how much shite the apparent unbiased media, BBC is a prime example, how much shite they spout forth as fact when it just isn't. It's a blatant lie. And I've said this loads of times on this podcast. The amount of times I was involved with certain incidents or things that were happening in London, and I was there, boots on the ground, it's happening in front of you. That's actually what happened. And then you get home and it's either not in the news or what's in the news is just an out and out lie. But everyone just spoon feeds it. Everyone just takes it as gospel because it's on the news. And you're like, that's just utter bollocks. That's not exactly what happened.
That's exactly it.
Anyway, right, let's move on.
That's a rabbit hole, Bruce.
Mate, I know. I'm loving this. I love this type of conversation, Mark. I really, really do. But I think, we're 2.5 hours in, and we could probably do another 2.5.
But just to end, just if you want to end that part, will say this.
Go on.
The reason they can spout shite and kind of sensationalize things because they're never held accountable for what they say.
Absolutely.
They just fall back on the principle that, this is just what we saw and how we interpreted it. We're innocent, so they're not held accountable. And a corporation or a news channel or whatever it is who are not held accountable for misinformation can be very, very dangerous and can cause mass hysteria. So,
yeah, and I think they're aware of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
100%.
let's not go down there.
Yeah. Rabbit hole.
Joel's got another question. He says, Bruce, are the chicken strip tours making a return? Yes, absolutely. I didn't plan anything in particular this year just because I wasn't sure what situation we were at with COVID and stuff at the start of the year. Yes, I will be sitting down. I'm away on a chicken strip tour next week to Scotland, and then I'm doing the Around the UK ride. September, I've got quite a lot of time off in September, so I'll be sat here in the office and I will work out a bare sort of tour plan for next year. One thing that hopefully is happening next June, I'll be doing a 3-week tour to Nordkap with MCI Tours. It'll be a chicken strip tour, but in conjunction with MCI Tours. That is a bucket list trip. It's amazing, but it's expensive. I think he's not worked out the final cost for it, but I think you're going to be looking at $5,500-6,000 for 3 weeks. I think.
Is that sterling?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, it's
oh my God.
It's a proper trip of a lifetime trip.
Yeah, 100%.
The plan is to do it in June, but obviously we have to do it so we cover the overheads and make some money out of it. So that'll, depending on numbers, it'll depend on the interest for it. Outside of that, I will be doing trips back to the Picos. I'm thinking about maybe doing a wee run to Switzerland as well. Switzerland, Austria, Italy down there. And I'll do the Old Faithfuls for Wales, Scotland. I'll be doing some stuff to the Canaries again, and probably back to Slovenia with Canary Moto tours. So yeah, there'll be some trips coming up for next year. Absolutely.
I'm eventually gonna do that Canary trips, definitely.
That's awesome. Brilliant.
Just the ease of it, of just bringing your gear with you on a plane, getting picked up, bike rental. Well, from what I've seen on your videos, the bike is there, and off you go. Like, just bring your helmet and your gear if you want, and off you go. Paid whatever. I think it's, I don't know how much. I remember looking at it. It's something just about 1,100 euros, 1,200 euros, and if you can get a little loan out of credit union or whatever it is, do you know what I mean? It just, I was wanting to do it, and then COVID hit. It was on my to-do list because I'm still looking at your videos. And when COVID hit, then I just kind of forgot about it. You know, I actually suggested it to my older daughter, Tori, that it would be cool if we did this because the bike is down there. We just bring the helmet and stuff because she has her helmet and stuff, and we go down there, and we were talking about it at one stage, and then COVID hit, so then it just went into the breeze, like. But you're kind of talking about it there now, so it's something that I'm just might look into again. You know, it looks awesome. Like,
it is a special place to ride a bike. Canaries, Tenerife as well. Like, all the islands are slightly different. I've only done Tenerife and Gran Canaria, but even between those two, the style of riding is different. Gran Canaria is much tighter, more technical. Tenerife is faster, sweeping. It's a lot of fun. Load of fun. Check them out.
Cool.
Next one, Rach 8. Rarch 8. Hi guys, a question for Mark. Bruce has mentioned that he wants to do the Wild Atlantic Way that mainly follows Ireland's coastline. Could you advise him of 3 must-visit places in inland? Ah, right, okay. I was going to say we've covered this, but we've not. Inland, so outside of the Wild Atlantic Way.
Right. Now, I will say straight off the bat that I try and keep to the coast. I love the coast. I love the sea. It has the hills and the mountains there as well. But without sounding like a tourist agency, there are nice places inland, tourist spots, but very, very cool places. Newgrange, I think it's a megalithic tomb in Newgrange. It predates the pyramids in Egypt.
Wow, you're kidding.
Have you not looked into it? Have you ever heard of it?
Never heard of
Newgrange tomb. It's outstanding, Bruce. It's such a nice spot. It was a tomb that was buried. It was buried underground, and the entrance to the tomb had like a doorway, a narrow stone doorway, and there was like a letterbox opening about this wide, this high on top. And what that was for, when it was in its original form, the winter solstice, it was built and designed for that one particular day on the winter solstice, whatever date it is. Once the sun was coming up or going down, one or the other, I'm not sure, that it shone into the chamber in the back. And no other day, like this predates the pyramids. So this was built using whatever tools, whatever it was like, and on this one particular day throughout the entire year, if we had sunshine on the winter solstice, it is Ireland, the sun would shine in through the top of this letterbox, whatever way it's set up, and it would light up the back of the tomb. It is a burial tomb, as far as I know. I'm not a tourist. I've been there a few times. I don't know enough about it, but it was buried underground, and someone just came across the top of it, the letterbox part, and they were like, "Shit, what the hell is that like?" You know, because there was other small little mounds around the place that they had uncovered. So they uncovered this place, I'm not sure how long ago, but it wasn't actually that long ago in relative to how old it is. But it's a big circular tomb. It's a big tourist attraction. From people from around the world come to see it, like, and it's close to the Hill of Tara, which is the ancestral home of the Irish kings, where they used to come and waffle about whatever they're waffling about. But there's something very special about the Newgrange tomb. Call me a bit airy-fairy now if you like, but there is something special about it. And I remember the last time I was there with my daughter Tori, and she's like really big into history, and we were in you can actually go into the chamber, you can actually go into the tomb itself and go right down the path and into a kind of a burial area. And I remember asking the tour guide, the lady, she was very nice, and I said, "Do you know, this is a small little area of the tomb." I said, "Is there nothing else buried here?" Because the actual structure itself is very big. It's a huge circular structure. And she said, "Well, now that you say that, students from a French university came over a couple of years ago, and they asked if they could X-ray it, if they could X-ray the parts of the mound, and of course they." Like, geez, that'd be really great to see what they find. You know, I let them off there, you know what I mean? So when they tried to X-ray the tomb, what came out in the X-ray was as if somebody you were moving. So do you know when you take a picture at night time, if you don't keep it steady, it's all blurry.
Yeah.
The X-ray was coming out blurry. So it was as if the tomb microscopically quivering.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to X-ray it. They weren't able to see what was in the rest of the mound.
What?
So basically what she said was what the French student said, the university student said, was we can't X-ray it. We've tried several different areas around the tomb to try and X-ray it, but it's literally quivering. It's literally will not let us X-ray the fucking tomb. Like, I tell you, if you when we're finished here, Bruce, just kind of Google Newgrange, the Newgrange tomb.
Newgrange.
I think it's in Meath. It's a definite spot to go. It's really cool. You might if you Google it and you see the picture, you might kind of recognize it. But it predates the pyramids. Yeah.
Bloody hell!
And also, more of it, the inscriptions that are on the stones at the door have been found in other parts of the world. So the curls and the coils that were chipped into the stone at the entrance, which was found when they uncovered the actual tomb itself, those type of inscriptions have been found in different parts of the world. And this, like I said 10 times already, it predates the pyramids. So there's no other inscriptions like it in Ireland, I don't think, but it was unique to Newgrange, but it was found in different parts of the world.
That's interesting.
So there's a lot of stuff they don't know about it, and it has been uncovered for a good many years, but they're still discovering about it. It's really interesting, and it's well worth a visit.
They've discovered that in the Americas as well, haven't they? that recent archaeological discoveries are now connecting. There's a site in what is now the USA, which the Native Americans held as like all the different tribes. I mean, those tribes warred each other, didn't they? They literally murdered and mutilated and raped each other. They were horrific the way they used to fight against each other. But they all treated this one area as like it's like everybody, I want to go to New York. Everyone from around the world, New York's the place to go. Well, they all treated this one site apparently as like the holy place to go to. And when they've dug at this site, they've discovered fruits and pottery and artifacts which they found in Central America and in like Mexico, and then
really
also down in like Machu Picchu and all these places in the Amazon and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, oh my God, like people plainly must have traveled from South America to this place at some point. Or there's been maybe trade or something has happened. It's just mind blowing, isn't it? When you look at stuff like that, you're like, oh my God, like what actually
some of the what went on, like, but some of the artifacts that were found in the Newgrange site, like some of the small kind of golds that obviously high kings and the chieftains would have got as gifts, were not indigenous to Ireland. They came from parts of Europe. Yeah. So obviously other tribes or other nations travelled for obviously months and months or whatever they had back then to this site. But it's mind blowing, the stuff you try and think about it, but you just can't get your head around it. Do you know?
There's all sorts of like conspiracy theories about that, isn't there? In that
aliens,
like, ancient civilization was more advanced than we are at the moment, and like the jump to go from monkeys, apes to where we are. They say that, was that like an extraterrestrial input that came in and advanced some apes from where they were that then became human? But then they're also saying, well, what happened? How come we seem to have been so advanced at one stage that we did things like you just said, Stonehenge, the pyramids, the level of what's the word I'm looking at? The level of sophistication that's been used to build some of these places. We don't know how they did it now, even with the computers and everything that we've got. Well, how did they do that back in the day? So they're also, people are saying, well, what happened to civilization to effectively reset it? And there's like a 10,000 year gap before civilization sort of started and working its way up again. Like, what happened there? It's interesting. Yeah.
They either already know and they're not telling us, or we'll never know. It's one or the other.
The more I do this podcast, the more I want to smoke weed. I've never smoked it, but I'm like, I really want to just get on it and have one of these conversations with somebody about stuff like this.
Yeah. Until the sun comes up, and then start talking about why is the sun coming up.
I know, whilst eating quavers.
Yeah.
Right, last one from Instagram. Sorry, go on.
No, I think that honestly, I just try and keep to the coast in Ireland, and that's nothing against the Midlands, but I love the sea. I love the mountains. I'm a water baby. I love being in the water. It's just I love I love mountains and I love sea. And along the coast of Ireland, Wild Atlantic Way, up all the way around, I'm just drawn towards the coast in Ireland. In Europe, I'm drawn towards the Alps.
The mountains.
I think there's nothing more humbling than getting off your bike and looking up dead straight and you can barely see the top of some big rock that's beside you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's humbling, and I love that feeling. I love that feeling of pulling in summer where your bike has just gone up this really high, S-bends all the way up, and you're standing there looking at a glacier that's been there longer than you can even think about. It's humbling, and I love the humbling experience. But in Ireland, I'm definitely just drawn towards the coast. In inland, like I said, the Newgrange tomb, definitely a must see. Go see it. It's cool. Like, it is really cool.
And if you're going to go to Northern Ireland, this isn't like a historical thing. Well, it is to an extent, but if you're into your biking, you got to go to Joey's Calf. You got to go Ballymoney and go to Joey's Bar.
Julie's?
Joey Dunlop's.
Joey's, okay.
Yeah, you got to go Ballymoney. You got to go and see the monument, the memorial garden. And then
I saw the pictures of that.
You got to go Joey's Bar, and just, it's an amazing place inside it. I went in there and I was having a Coke because I was on my bike, chatting away to the lady behind the bar, and it's only afterwards that I realised that was Linda, his wife. And I've been chatting away to her. Yeah. It's an amazing place. It lives and breathes bikes.
Good job you didn't kind of say something like, he's a bit overrated, that fucking Dunlop fellow, isn't he?
I'd never say that. The guy's a god. He's a god.
I can just picture a big Scottish fella coming in from, Joey's overrated.
I think you get lynched. You wouldn't make it out.
Yeah.
Right, last one from Instagram. The Great Ghost _1. Great photo. Tattoo looks, I know, shallow takeaway. Sorry, what? Is the Grey Ghost somebody that did your tattoos?
No.
I don't get that. Great photo. Tattoo looks great. Yeah, I know. Is it a hollow takeaway or shallow takeaway? I don't know.
Doesn't make sense.
I assumed you knew them, but Great Ghost 1, whoever that is. Don't understand.
Thanks for the compliment on the tattoos.
Yeah. You've got one or two, haven't you?
I have a few there. Yeah.
And I think we have one over on Facebook, mate. So that will draw us to a close. So across on Facebook, Shay Trenor. What does Mark think about the potential for motorbike tourism in Ireland? Is it untapped?
How are you, Shay? I know Shay.
All right, okay.
There is companies in Ireland that do the guided tours. So I don't know how many there is. I've never looked into it because I need to use that facility. But I think definitely now that we have the Wild Atlantic Way, now that it's a thing, I think that a couple of companies there do the tours. They will bring you around. Whether it's untapped or not, the market could always be flooded. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we could do with a few more companies that could advertise themselves, that everyone's a bit more aware that they're there. So if somebody asks you, I've never been to Ireland, what do you think I should do? And then you kind of say, well, there is touring companies. I know this name. The name rolls off the tongue, I know there is companies there to do it. There is companies that do guided tours in Ireland. I know there's companies there that will rent you bikes, and it's a self-guided tour. Whether it's untapped or not, it's there. But whether there's enough, I don't know. Probably we could do maybe one or two just for competition wise. Do you know what I mean? For price wise, maybe we could do it. Maybe a few more. Do you know? Maybe ones that are kind of. I don't know. The ones that are there, I don't know. Are they for large groups? Like I said, Ireland is not a big country. So is there a need to have a group of 20 trailing along the likes of the roads we've been on in the Wild Atlantic Way? or is it better to have a more intimate amount of people, like maybe 4 or 5? I think that would be the answer, the 4 or 5. If you were to open up a company here or to do a guided tour here, maybe 4 or 5, because the roads do get narrow, and there is a few hairy spots on the roads that you just don't want to be. You don't want to be babysitting lads either, and you don't want to be babysitting 20 lads on bikes either. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But maybe there could be a market there for smaller groups. Now, like I said, I've never looked into it. I've never looked into doing guided tours around Ireland. Obviously, I live here. But yeah, there's nothing that comes to my mind. So that, and I do look at the Irish bike scene a lot. So that to me just kind of means, well, maybe there's not enough. Maybe there should be a few more. So that kind of that does come to the forefront of your mind if somebody from outside Ireland does ask you, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So that's all I can really say on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think there's always room. I mean, bikers are fairly not unique, but there's lots of different bikers and lots of different styles of biking and touring to accommodate the different bikers, isn't there? Some people like to just get in a big group and just play follow my leader and trundle around. Other people want maybe a more dynamic, a faster one. Some people want lots of stops to, and days off the bike to go and explore and do this and that. Other people aren't worried about that. They just want to say, yeah, we went there, but, there it is, keep going riding. It's about the ride.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of my chicken strips tours tend to be more that way focused. It's about the actual ride. And then in the evening, we'll stop in the evening and do the social thing at night. But during the day, it's just coffee, cake, lunch. It's the ride, it's the roads. So there's all different manners. There's loads of different types of tours. Although you're essentially going along the same route, there's lots of different ways you could do it, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, the Irish bike scene, during the summer, you have a lot of the bike rallies where you just go to the rallies, you can park up, throw up your tent, and there's bands and there's music and there's beer, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You could do, if someone was, like, during the summer, there's one every weekend. So if you're doing a 2-week tour, like, you could say, right, we're going to do some touristy spots, but you're also going to be brought to this rally on this Saturday, and then the last Saturday before you go on the Monday, you're going to be brought to another rally. So it could be on a rally tour, maybe, do you know? Yeah. Stuff like that. You're right. You're dead right. Obviously, I was a bit closed-minded with that one there, but because I automatically assumed it was all about seeing the scenery, do you know? Yeah. There is a lot of avenues there you could do. You know, you could kind of explore different areas there. Not everyone is going to want sea and mountains. Like some people might want to go on a beer tour and stop off at all the good city. Okay, tomorrow night we're in Cork, then we're heading to Limerick, then we're heading up to Athlone, then we're going across to Dublin, where the finale is going to be in some mad pub in Dublin, and then off you go. Do you know,
Mark? So where do I sign up?
The Irish beer tour.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Forget about the bike.
That one. Yeah, the beer tour.
Yeah, done. Mate, that's us. We've gone through all the questions. That's nearly, in fact, that is 3 hours. Believe it or not.
Cool, and we still haven't spoken about bikes properly. And stuff.
We haven't. Oh. Jeez, right, we're okay. What do you want to chat about bikes then?
I think you asked me at the start, why did I get into the bikes, I think.
Yes.
And I think we're meant to come back to it about 2.5 hours ago. Yeah.
We were, yes.
Sure.
Go on then.
Well,
how'd you get into them?
We might as well talk about it. So, just to get it out of the way. My uncle on my mum's side and one of my uncles on my dad's side were bikers. Are bikers. So I think one of my first spins on a motorbike was probably on the back of my dad's brother, and that was on the back of a CBX 1000 Supersport. Yeah. Do you know Honda's 6-cylinder?
Right.
Yeah. CBX 1000 Supersport. It was a case of, Mark, do you want to go for a spin? In my pajamas, down some dirt road. Now, it wasn't a fast one. Like, it was the fastest bike on Irish roads at the time. It was so it came into the country in 1980, I think it was. So I think I might have been, by the time I got a spin on it, I was probably 4. So I was kind of holding on to my uncle like this, and just a spin down and spin back up, but there was something nice about it. Yeah. So then I'm not then my other uncle, my Uncle Michael, who's also my godfather, he's still biking. He's riding a Harley now at the moment. So he used to have a Honda Super Dream 250 Super Dream, and when he used to come home from work from the factory, he used to say, right, do you want a helmet? if you wear the helmet, you have to sit in the back. Or if you don't want the helmet, you're going to sit in the front. And it was on a country road, so there was a train line out the back, and we used to go up just to the top of the hill, so you could watch the train going all the way down to the, so it was nice, so that's where it kind of kicked off, just my two uncles, and motorbikes were always kind of there. They were always like an interest, but I didn't start riding bikes till I was 18, I think. I never thought I could, It was just school. I showed an interest in the army when I was 15 and 16. It was always a big thing with me. When I was 5, I found Rambo on VHS. I was at home and my dad had taped it off ITV, so all the good parts were cut out. And I found it, and when I was at home and my mum was in doing whatever she was doing in the kitchen, the laundry, whatever else, I was sitting there watching Rambo at 5 years of age.
Gee whiz. And that was it. I want to join the army.
I fucking loved it, yeah. So I started hanging out with guys then when I just about finished school, when I was 18. And that's the rest is history. Like I think my first proper bike was, I went through a couple of scooters, and I think my first proper bike was a restricted Bandit 6. And she was lovely, candy blue. And after that, then I went on to a Vulcan 1500.
Oh, yeah.
After that, then I just started, what was after the Vulcan 1500? I think I went on to a Dyna Y-Glide, an older Dyna Y-Glide, and I went through a couple of Harleys. I went through a couple of Harleys because I could. At that time, you could walk into a bank and say, I want a top-up loan. And they're like, sure, Mr. Young, there you go, sign the dotted line, So I went through a couple of Harleys. And then the recession hit. This is really fast forwarding through the timeline of my motorbikes. But
2008 time.
What's that? It was 2004 when I came back from overseas. When I came back from Africa, I was on a Harley, and my sister introduced me to Long Way Around. Now I'd seen the GSs around Cork, and I thought they were ugly, and I didn't like them. And at that stage, I was well deep in the motorcycle club culture here in Ireland, so I just wanted to ride cruisers, drink beer, and whatever else came along with the motorcycle culture. Do you know what I mean? And and Tori was born in 2004, so I was kind of trying to, she was my first daughter, so I was kind of, how do you be this kind of tough guy in a bike club and be the dad thing again, So I came back from overseas in 2004, and my sister kept going on about Hugh McGregor and his mate going around the world on BMWs, and she kept showing me the DVD, and number one, okay, it was Hugh McGregor, okay, and as soon as I saw the BMWs, I was like, nah, Jesus, no, it had to be Hurley, it had to be black leather, it had to be tattoos, it had to be all this jazz, But I watched it, and I watched the first 2 episodes, and that was it. I absolutely just Long Way Around. I know a lot of people don't like Long Way Around because of the support crew and all that jazz, but I don't. That's bollocks, because
of course it is.
McGregor, obviously big star, was on it. If there was no time limit, they could have just done that themselves. Off they go and spent the time, but they had a time limit. They'd fucking 4 months or 5 months, whatever it was. So
3, I think. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
It was
so
quick.
You need that support in that short time space. So anyway, I started watching Long Way Around, and literally I had to buy the DVD 3 or 4 times because I wore it out. It literally changed. It changed. I'm not being too dramatic now, but Long Way Around changed my outlook in life, because I was so wrapped up in the whole bike club culture in Ireland that it was tough for me to be a kind of a loving guy as well. Yeah. So when I saw how fucking cool you and Charlie were and what they went through, and you can be this, what you can still be 110% biker, but still not be wrapped up in that culture. And there's this whole other spectrum of culture in motorcycles, like the touring. I saw that, and then at the end of it, where he's saying how much he loves his daughters and kissing his daughters and being lovable as well, it completely blew my mind. I was like this whole narrow-mindedness that I was in, and not saying everyone's in that, but that was me. Yeah. It was like, holy shit, you can be this, you can still have 110% motorbikes in your heart, but still, hug and love your children and be this be the loving dad, and absolutely, I know we try not to curse on anything, but fuck anyone else who has a problem with it, like, do you know what I mean? And I absolutely, I'm not being dramatic, it literally changed my outlook in life for the best. And after that, then it was buying a GS, and I got into the whole touring side, and I got away from the whole waking up in a tent, hungover, puking every single weekend, fucking lifestyle that it just wasn't suiting me anymore. And I saw there was this whole other world of biking, because when I got into the bikes, that was the side of things I was getting into, and it was good fun. It was great fun, you know, but it was getting tiring at the same time, because I was doing it for years, like, and then all of a sudden this whole other side of motorcycling, and that you can do all this, but still consider yourself to be a hardcore 100% biker. Plus you can also not give a shit about what people think. You can still hug your daughters and love your daughters and be this caring person, and not be this absolute just pig, I suppose, if you want to call it, like, do you mean? And that was for me, like, so it just completely changed. It changed my outlook on everything that time, like, and it came at a good time because Tori was just born. So yeah. So when I went overseas the second time a year later, I brought like 2 copies of the DVD, and I brought the fantastic book that they released, the coffee table book. They had the normal novel, but then they released the coffee table book with all the photographs.
Right, yes.
Oh my God. They released it for A Long Way Round and Long Way Down. They didn't release anything for A Long Way Up. But
I've still never seen Long Way Up. Never seen it.
Have you not?
No, I've not watched it yet. Yeah.
I'm not going to give it away. It's good. It's different because of the electric bikes, but I'm still wondering, like, it would have been nice, like, the last two parts, they released the book, they released the photographs. The photographs were stunning. Like, when the boys were absolutely wrecked in Russia on the Road of Bones, like, and the bikes were like hanging off, and just real gritty photographs, and it was just so attractive. It was so like this side of motorcycling is hardcore, like, it's fucking outstanding. Then Long Way Down, like, there's parts there were okay, but it's still very, very, very watchable, like. Long Way Up, I was kind of disappointed with I'm not going to give it away. You haven't seen it, but you need to watch it. It is good. There is parts, but it's just a different vibe off it, a completely different vibe off it. Look, they didn't release a DVD. The DVD was supposed to be released last August, last autumn. Nothing is coming out of that. There's no book. There's no photograph book or nothing. Like, if I was to guess, because they went with Apple, because it's on Apple TV. If I was to guess, if someone asked me, and this is just what I'm thinking, there's some sort of legal thing going on there that they can't release it. There must be, because the DVD sales and the book sales probably would have been very good as well. And the photographs, come on, South America. Yeah. And some of the views, outstanding. There must be some sort of legal thing going on there, because there's still no sign of any release from anything from Long Way Up, you know, and it's disappointing.
John, I've not heard any whispers or anything about it. I've not really paid much attention. I've got to admit to Long Way Up. I didn't really, because I didn't have Apple TV, so I was like, well, I'm not going to watch it. So that was that. But Long Way Round. I think Long Way Round, so many people have similar stories to you that it just had such an impact on them. And I'm one of them. You know, I was like, I didn't ride a bike when I watched it, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And it sent me down a path, and, you know, that path's still taking me places to this day. So yeah, I owe them a lot for that. And I'm the same as you. I don't subscribe to the you know, they had a film crew, they had a backup crew, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but for starters, it's blooming Ewan McGregor. He's an A-list celeb. Can you imagine if he went somewhere and something had happened to the bloke? So his insurance policy would have stated that he had to have a certain amount of backup. The second thing, they're creating a television show, and like a full-on produced show. So there's this. It's not just a GoPro, is it?
This was the time they were still using tapes as well.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You need support for that. You need support for that. That's putting tapes onto hard drives and keeping them safe. is mental, like, do you know what I mean? So and it was only a bloody Mitsubishi and whatever the hell it was, like, I mean, it wasn't like, but I agree with you there. If just they were on a time frame, like you saw, as soon as they had signal, McGregor was onto his agent straight away, like, do you know what I mean? But I found Long Way Round was McGregor was happier at the end of Long Way Round, I think, because it was more natural. It was less kind of media. It was less kind of flashy. Do you know what I mean? They went a bit commercial with Long Way Down, I thought, but Long Way Down is still very watchable and enjoyable. Do you know, they made it into a thing, but I like the rawness of the way Long Way Round is filmed. Definitely. And I'll still watch it to this day because it's done with camcorders that now you wouldn't even pay €100 for. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I owe a lot to that series and how it changed my outlook on a lot of things, do you know? So Charlie and Ewan, if you're watching, cheers, lads.
I have been trying to get Charlie on this for so long. I've got so many connections of people that know him, but I've never been able to get anyone to shake the olive tree out to him, you know, and I've tried DMing him and never had a reply. But Charlie, if anyone out there knows Charlie, please, I'd love to get him on for a chat, just to say thanks. Because
Charlie's he's appearing on. He's now presenting on that the motorcycle show that you were on.
Yes, yeah. I timed that well, didn't I? I decided I wasn't going to do it, and then they announced he was a co-presenter with Graham. I was like, oh, great.
But surely one of the guys off the show can set up, like, you can set up a podcast anywhere, like.
Yeah, I know. It's been spoke about, but nothing's ever happened. So, you know, I can't. I'm not forcing the issue. So if it happens, it would be great. I'd love to chat to him for sure.
It would be great. It'd be fantastic. It'd be great to see Charlie on it. It'd be great to see Charlie on it, actually. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right, dude, that is over 3 hours we've been gassing here. Can you believe that?
3 hours, Bruce.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Apologies for the breakdown in internet connection. So what I'm actually using for my internet connection is my phone. My phone was up by the window, and I'm using the wireless hotspot off my phone because I've no other system here where I'm living. So I'm actually using the hotspot off my mobile phone. So that's why it went out every now and then, like. So so I apologize to the people watching. I apologize for the breakdown in pictures there. But what actually happened was for some reason, I looked at it there and I realized what happened. It went from 4G down to the normal 3G or whatever
3G,
it is. So or H plus or whatever the fuck it is. So it went down to that, and I actually had to put on, while we were doing it here, I had to put it on airplane mode for like a second and get the fucking 4G back up. Yeah. So once the 4G connected there, we've been fairly okay. So apologies for anyone who got frustrated there. You know,
no dramas. There'll be a little bit of editing going on there just to try and get the continuity and get it going again when we started. Mate, I absolutely love chatting with you. I could do another 3 hours chatting with you for sure. Absolutely, it's been a pleasure.
Like we still didn't touch on.
Oh, his internet's gone. Oh, you're back. You disappeared. We still didn't.
Yeah. We still didn't delve too much into the motorcycles, our own motorcycles. So maybe another time.
We'll cover bikes in the next one. Then I'll get you back on, mate, if you're up for it. And
100%, 100%, Bruce. I'd love to. Cool. Yeah. Fucking brilliant.
Mate, before you go, please have a plug, shout out for your accounts, your channels. Over to you. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Both. It's yours.
Sure. Okay, guys, listen, thanks very much for listening to myself and Bruce waffle. I'm basically an absolute unknown, I'd say, to most of you. So just like Bruce said, I'll do a plug, right? So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Mark Young Media. I do motor vlogs, but I also do normal vlogs. I do video casts with my daughter. My youngest daughter is 7, so that's Maya, and she loves doing the video casts. So I think she's kind of more into the setting up and pressing the buttons on the Rodecaster and stuff, but she does like sitting down chatting, and when I get her in good form, she'll chat away. And the cool thing is we've been doing it since she was 3. Awesome. So I think 2 or 3, I think, was our first one. It was.
So you've got that record of it.
Yeah, so we're actually squashed into a little Wendy house in her grand's place in Poland in summer, and I'm in like that, and we're just chatting away. And she's very small, so I love looking back at that. So yeah, my YouTube channel basically consists of motor vlogs, normal vlogs, video casts. Just it is a mix. It is a mixed bag. I don't stick to any particular subject. That's just me because I don't like being tied down to the one subject. I have a podcast. It's called The Tattooed Irishman. Again, I don't regularly do podcasts, but when I do, it comes onto that page on Instagram. So it's The Tattooed Irishman. That's on Instagram. Also, I have a page for my motorbike. It's an S1000 XR. So it's X1000 S1000 XR rider on Instagram. So I post all my motorbike pictures on that. If I'm doing any tours or any trips with my girlfriend Petrina, she has a page called the Kerry Motor Girl. Yeah, if you want to follow that. Any of the ladies listening, any of the lady bikers listening, Petrina's is 110% wholeheartedly a motorcyclist, a biker. So if you're looking for female biker pages to follow, go ahead and it's the Kerry Motor Girl. Go ahead and follow her. My own page that I do post, just my own personal stuff, plus just any photography that I do. I'm big into photography. When I get to do it, it's on Mark Young Media. Now there's a Mark Young Media page. It'll be open. There's a closed one as well. I don't really use that one, so it's the one that's open. It's Mark Young Media. If you're interested in any of those things, I also have the Mark Young Media on my Facebook as well. That's a page on Facebook. I always post the links to my latest vlogs, my latest podcasts, any photography. If I'm doing, if I'm taking a bike for a demo ride or anything like that, I'll show the photographs up there. So that's Mark Young Media. It's all Mark Young Media, bar the S1000 XR rider and the Tattooed Irishman podcast. So if you're interested in following, please do. If you think it's a bunch of waffle, you're entitled to that opinion, then don't. But if you are interested, please just hit the follow and like. It'd be great to build my channel with all you guys following. So thanks very much.
Folks, please do. I will leave all those links down below. So like, follow, subscribe as you see fit. Mate, cool. Absolutely loved this. Really have enjoyed it, honestly. And when I get across to the Emerald Isle, we'll meet up. I'll be there. I'll meet you up and we'll do a beer or five. See how we get on.
I'll introduce you to Kinnegar.
Right, you're on. Yeah. Let's do it.
I get you drunk on Kinnegar. I get you drunk enough to reveal your secrets.
What secrets? I haven't got any secrets. I'm an open
book. Your media secrets.
Mate, it's taken me bloody 10 years, 11 years to get here. So well,
you're at a good spot there. So
I'm loving it, mate. I'm loving life. I cannot complain.
I'm so happy things have worked out for you since you left the force as well.
Thanks, man.
I could seeing lads leaving the army here who didn't really want to leave, but they did leave. I could see you kind of struggled leaving. You didn't, because you wanted to be a cop for such a long time. Mm-hmm. But I'm so happy you landed on your feet as well, Bruce, because there was always that doubt. There was always that doubt that if you did leave just to do the channels and the media, it wasn't going to go your way. But I had my fingers crossed for you, and so far, touch wood, so good that it's going good for you. So I'm absolutely delighted for you. I'm glad it's working for you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Cool.
It's not easy. It's a daily battle. It's not easy being self-employed, but anyone that is self-employed will know that it's a game you have to play, isn't it?
Absolutely,
anyway,
100%.
Awesome, mate. I appreciate those words. Thank you.
No butters.
Right, folks. What can we say to this other than hope you've enjoyed it? Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Awesome, dude. Mate, I loved that. Absolutely loved it.